Yeah, because it's connected. Here you have to mute. Sorry. So, Alex, I have to mute here, right?
You stop.
Which one? I'm trying. What? Can you see this? Let's. Sometimes it's just okay. So, Sensei, with your permission, I think is the time. We have 126 people are coming, and our dignitary will join shortly. I would like to welcome all of our colleagues, friends, dignitaries, His Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, those who are here or around the world. And I really welcome all of you from the core of my heart and from my conference host team. And this is Dr. Shafi Buya, conference chair. And with me today, this morning, international Mch Handbook chair, Dr. Nakamura, with us from Japan. Here we have a board member of Mch Handbook International Committee, Dr. Salawat from Thailand is here. And our Mch Handbook International Conference team members is here. And all of you, again, wholehearted greetings from Toronto. We would like to start in this morning to acknowledge our national anthem in Canada and followed by land acknowledgement. So I would like to ask all you enjoy our national anthem. Thank you. Please have a seat. So next is land acknowledgement. I would like to ask our team.
Good morning, and everyone. The Dalai Lama School of Public Health wished to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nida. Now, I would like to formally start. Her Excellencies, ladies, gentlemen, and dear friends and colleagues. It is my distinct pleasure to welcome all of you at this auspicious morning today, 13th International Conference on Mch Handbook at University of Toronto. This event is being held at a very critical point in public health, when the COVID-19 pandemic has revealed huge gaps in the provision of maternal child health care. It has highlighted an urgent need to prioritize accessible and equitable maternal and child health care. The conference is being organized by the University of Toronto Dartmouth School of Public Health with the theme of Making Mothers Visible. I'm very pleased to see more than 700 people are registered for this passionate participants all over the world, mostly over 60 countries, to attend this meeting. As some of you are aware that Mch Handbook promotes health equity and aims to bring the health and mothers and their children to forefront. I'm happy to share that handbook has been introduced in more than 42 countries, both developed and developing country. This is not only home-based health record and information tool for mothers, but also empower parents. Parents take their responsibility, and parents and professional therefore work together to create the health-centered, the patient-centered healthcare to address the community health. Over the next 2 days, we will learn about global experiences, about the implementation of the Mch Handbook from all over the country. We have 14 selected countries participant. They will attend and share the best practices, is digitalization and the utilization of the Mch Handbook for minorities. You will also have the opportunity to contribute to the 2022 Toronto Declaration for making mothers visible. Details of 2 days event are available on the website. In order to ensure the rights of every mother and the children are realized in the world, the implementation of handbook as a global standard tool is an important step, first step. I'm hopeful that through the Mch Handbook, we would be able to provide equitable, holistic maternal child care around the globe. Dear friends and colleagues, I have my district's honor to introduce International Committee Chair, Professor Dr. Nakamura. Professor Dr. Nakamura is a Professor Emeritus of Osaka University and President of Friends of WHO Japan. He started Global Health to encourage maternal child health in Indonesia as a Japan International Cooperation Agency JICA expert to promote refugee health program in UNHCR Pakistan office. He was a Takemi Fellow at Harvard School of Public Health for International Health. He's conducting research on Mch Handbook programs in many countries, humanitarian relief for refugees and victims of natural disaster, medical interpreting in hospitals and the healthcare system in Japan. Professor Dr. Nakamura is the president of Japan Association of International Health, the representative of the International Society of Volunteer Studies, and the WHO Association of Japan president. He got 43rd Medical Achievement Award in 2015 for his promotion of Mch Handbook in the global setting. I have my pleasure to introduce my chair of the International Handbook Committee, Professor Nakamura. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Very kind introduction. Excellency, Dr. Her Imperial Highness Princess Akishino of Japan, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to have an opportunity to give opening remarks in the Memorial 13th International Conference on Maternal and Child Health Handbook at Toronto, Canada. On behalf of International Committee on Mch Handbook, I'd like to express our great gratitude to the excellent efforts with perfect preparedness by the conference organizing team here, chaired by Shafi Bhuyan. The team has prepared the website, schedule, planning, program book, poster session, and all the management of the online conference. Congratulations. Yeah. Personally, I remember that I have learned together with Dr. Shafi after he entered Osaka University as a Mombusho Scholarship PhD candidate from Bangladesh. Yeah, dream comes true. Last night, so I have the I read the program book. This one. Yeah, I'm very excited to participate in the conference to get new findings and to be inspired by innovative ideas for 2 days. Yeah, I look forward to discussion that will open up new dimension for the Mch Handbook in future. In this time, so I would like to introduce Her Excellency Dr. Her Imperial Highness Princess Akishino of Japan. It is a great honor for us that Princess Akishino participated in the conference at Tokyo in 2016 and have continued to attend since then in the Bangkok conference and in the Amsterdam online conference. Mch Handbook professionals working in the community, hospitals, and planning organizations around the world have been encouraged by her speech. Please watch 2 tigers placed at ornament on the left side because this year of Japanese zodiac is a tiger. On the right side is a red and white striped fabric with the image of the Canadian national flag, which was made by Princess Akishino herself. Please start the video message of Princess Akishino.
Dear participants, it is a great pleasure for me to participate online in the 13th International Conference on the Maternal and Child Health Handbook. I would like to express my deep respect to the organizing committee of the 13th International Conference on the Mch Handbook, to the University of Toronto, to the International Committee on the Mch Handbook, and everyone who has worked to realize this international conference. Mch handbooks play a very important role in helping pregnant women, nursing mothers, children, and their families. In 2018, I participated in the 11th International Conference on the Mch Handbook held in Thailand. I have fond memories of the Thai Mch Handbook that I was shown at that time. And last year, I participated in the series of excellent webinars organized by the local organizing committee of the 12th International Conference on the Mch Handbook in the Netherlands and learned a great deal. I am grateful that I was able to help members of Boshi Aikai, the organization of which I am president, to share some information from the webinars with mothers and families in Japan. The theme of today's conference is Making Me Visible. It is very important to identify and support vulnerable pregnant women, mothers, newborns, and children whose needs might not yet be visible. Mch handbooks help mothers and their families to communicate with healthcare professionals and volunteers who can listen to and support them. Mch Handbooks can also empower women and their families to be the owners of their own health records and to seek help for their health problems. I have been looking forward to today's conference, which will bring another opportunity for us to share valuable experiences, to learn new ideas, and hold discussions together. I would like to convey my deep appreciation to all of you who have been utilizing Mch Handbooks for the health of pregnant women, nursing mothers, and their children. I hope that this conference will make a great contribution to helping pregnant women, nursing mothers, newborns, children, and their families, so that every child will be able to grow up and play their role in building our future. Thank you very much.
Her Royal Highness, Imperial Highness Crown Prince Akishino of Japan. It is our distinct pleasure and honor to have you with us and give your valuable insight and inspiration to move forward to empower women around the world. Thank you so much from the core of our heart and from the committee, conference committee, international committee as a whole. So this program is now going to happen from University of Toronto, Dalhousie School of Public Health. I would like to now introduce our beloved Dean Professor Steny Brown. Dean Professor Steny Brown is our Dean of Dalhousie School of Public Health. Prior having this Dean position, he was the Director of the Institute of Health Policy, Management and Evaluation, and Dalhousie Chair, Public Health Policy. Other past roles include senior leadership role in policy and strategy within the Ontario government, founding role in startup companies, and extensive work on performance measurement. He received his undergraduate degree in government from Harvard University and his doctorate from University of Oxford, where he was Rhodes Scholar. He is a fellow of Canadian Academy of Health Science. Dear friends and colleagues, let's listen welcome message from our Dean, Steny Brown.
Hello, I'm Steny Brown, the Dean of the Dalhousie School of Public Health. And it's my pleasure to be able to extend a special welcome to the organizers and the participants in this 13th International Conference on the Maternal Child Health Handbook. You're attending this conference, and we're holding it here at the DLSPH at a critical time for public health, when we urgently need sustained energy to support and improve maternal and child health around the world. I do not need to tell you how the global pandemic has isolated us from each other in so many ways. And we know that it takes a village to support parents and raise children. It's only fitting that you've chosen the conference theme, Making Me Visible, to amplify the voices of the oft unheard, ever accommodating mothers who are their family's first health practitioners and promoters, and to children whose loud cries need responses of comfort and care. I'm confident that you will benefit from this opportunity to collaborate, connect, and engage with each other as you continue with your practices in providing and advocating for maternal and child health. Congratulations to the conference organizers who are bringing together practitioners to reflect on ensuring a continuum of harmonized care for mothers and children. May your work continue to empower birthing people and their families to adopt culturally appropriate supports for maternal and child health care and well-being. And my special thanks to Professor Shafi Bouyan for bringing this great conference here to the school. I wish you success together through these 2 days, and may the reflections from this conference bring about the impact that you envision together. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Dean Stanley Brown, for your great support. And it's amazing to have your support to hold this exciting and interesting conference in Canada. Thank you very much. So now I would like to go switch from Toronto to Geneva, WHO. We have a special guest, special advisor to the Director General of WHO World Health Organization, my friend, Professor Dr. Peter Singer. Professor Peter Singer is a special advisor to the Director General and Assistant Director General of the World Health Organizations. Dr. Peter Singer received the Michael Smith Prize as Canada's Health Research of the Year in Population Health and Health Services. Dr. Singer was appointed Officer of the Order of Canada for contribution to health research and bioethics, and for his dedication to the improving health of people in developing countries. He's a fellow of the Royal Society of Canada, Foreign Secretary of the Canadian Academy of Health Science, US National Academy of Medicine, and the Academy of Sciences for the Developing World, named TWAS. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and colleagues, distinguished guest, Dr. Peter Singer, Special Advisor to the Director General at World Health Organization.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Peter Singer. I'm the Special Advisor to Dr. Tedros at the World Health Organization, and it's a real pleasure for me and a privilege, in fact, to give these welcoming remarks for this very important meeting, the 13th International Conference for Maternal and Child Health and the Handbook. You know, maternal and child health is the really at the heart of the health-related sustainable development goals. And this is a very important moment halfway through the 15-year period of the Sustainable Development Goals. But unfortunately, I'm here to tell you that progress is only about 1/4 the pace needed to reach the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. So the world needs to accelerate through more rigorous delivery, and guidelines like this handbook can certainly contribute to that, through innovation, through incentives for multilateral collaboration, and through more integrated approaches like primary health care. And I want to emphasize just how core the activities in maternal child health are to primary health care. Above all, the top lessons that the pandemic has taught us, and these have been difficult lessons to learn, are equity, equity, and equity. This is the single most important lesson of the pandemic, and something to implement and to reflect upon throughout your conference. In closing, I hope you will allow me to offer my respect and appreciation to Dr. Shafi, to Professor Shafi, who has really demonstrated equity in terms of internationally trained medical doctors and integrating them into work in Canada. So have a great conference. It's a privilege to offer these welcoming remarks, and good luck to you all. And let's work together to accelerate the health-related sustainable development goals, because that is the challenge that lies before us, that lies before you, and a challenge that I'm sure you'll help to meet in this important meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, our beloved Dr. Peter Singer, my mentor, my friend, and guide to support the global health. And I really appreciate your continuous support to international health professionals in Canada and around the world. I really, truly blessed, and I really thank you from the core of my heart. Next, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to move our guest who is going to make opening remarks, and she is Dr. Naoko Yamamoto, WHO Assistant Director General to Universal Health Coverage, Healthier Populations. Dr. Yamamoto served as Senior Assistant Minister for Global Health in Japan's Ministry of Health, Labor, and Welfare previously. In this capacity, she hosted and organized the International Conference on Universal Health Coverage in 2015 and supported completion of G7 ISS Shima Vision for Global Health and Kobe communicate of the G7 Health Ministers meeting in 2016. She holds a medical degree and a PhD in epidemiology and a Master Public Health since 2021. Dr. Yamamoto is the chair of United Nations Nutrition. Ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished guest, I present you Dr. Naoko Yamamoto, WHO Assistant Director General for Universal Health Coverage.
Excellencies, Conference Committee colleagues and friends, it's a pleasure to join the 13th International Conference of the Maternal and Child Health MCH Handbook. Thank you very much for inviting me. Since its publication, for more than 7 decades, millions of families around the globe have used the handbook. This is an example of innovation and adaptation across time, cultures, and settings. This year, the theme of this conference is Making Me Visible. This theme highlights the importance of giving voice and attention to those mothers and children whose health has suffered setbacks in recent times. Globally, maternal and child health outcomes have worsened due to COVID-19 crisis and to conflict and war in many places like Ukraine, which disrupt essential health care.
Thank you. Some technical, just, yeah. Is it okay?
For health of women and children and all. The MCH Handbook aims to promote exactly that. The handbook is a model to people-centered care and support. It puts pregnant women, mothers, and children at the center and facilitates engagement of men and community. The handbook is also a tool to empower users, stimulate ownerships, and build health literacy. We cannot accept to reverse decades of good progress for maternal and child health. The MCH Handbook will have to further innovation to respond to the health and the social needs of mothers and children affected by a world of constantly changing and bringing new challenges. Increasing obesity, growing urban population, demographic change, or digitalization are just a few. But I'm convinced that MCH Handbook will continue to be a powerful tool to ensure that maternal and child health is a policy priority for national health and development and international cooperation. I wish fruitful discussion at this conference. I thank you.
Thank you very much, our opening speaker, Dr. Naoko Yamamoto, for your impressive and informative deliberation. Now, I think we are doing a great job. We are on time. And that's my objective, to give everything just going on and smoothly. Sorry for minor interruptions. So I would like to switch to next our special guest, health specialist, child health, in the integrated services delivery at UNICEF. Dr. Annie works as the health specialist in the Child and Community Health Unit of UNICEF at New York office. She focused on integrated child health services, delivery, and quality of care. In her role, she represents UNICEF efforts to accelerate programs for child survival and address key causes of under 5 deaths, while at the same time providing guidance and support to advancing and expanding child health programming towards more comprehensive approaches for healthy growth and development throughout the life course. She trained pediatrics in Germany before moving to Desmond Tutu TB Center and Stellenbosch University, South Africa, to provide clinical care and perform research on improving diagnosis of childhood tuberculosis. She then joined the International Union Against Tuberculosis and Lung Disease as child lung health specialist, providing technical and research support on childhood TB to countries and working closely with the global child and adolescent TB working group and WHO on improving guidance capacity building for the pediatric TB. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to present Dr. Anna. Dr. Anna.
Dear organizers and colleagues from around the world, with the Sustainable Development Goals, countries committed to ensuring that all children have a chance not only to survive, but to thrive and reach their full potential. It is their right to receive all support needed from responsive parents or caregivers, as well as health, nutrition, education, and related sectors and systems. In UNICEF, we recognize specifically the first 1,000 days between conception and a child's second birthday as the most important window of opportunity to protect and establish a healthy future and potential to thrive for a child's life. Yet, in many countries, there are numerous lost opportunities to address child survival, growth, and development because existing systems for primary healthcare and other social systems and services are weak with limited resources. Home-based records have a role to play in the support for health and well-being of women and children. They have been recommended by the WHO to improve care-seeking behavior, men's involvement and support in the household, maternal and child home care practices, infant and child feeding, and communication between health providers and women and caregivers. They are a tool useful to mothers and caregivers as well as service providers. They can help to ensure that information across different sectors and services is provided, recorded, and they can create a link to civil registration and vital statistics. Yet many countries, as you know, are facing complex implementation challenges for home-based records, including frequent stockouts, challenges in making them universally accessible, or ensuring their content is used to its full extent by all users. Information might not be recorded or is incomplete, or information available is not used and does not lead to action. Take an example. Health workers plot the weight and growth of a child, which suddenly falls off its trajectory. This information can point to a potential underlying acute or chronic health condition and should lead to further evaluation. For home-based records to have an impact on maternal, newborn, and child health and nutrition outcomes, it requires an ongoing effort and coordination across multiple health programs and ministerial departments and links to other health data and communication activities to ensure they are available, used correctly, and are valued by all users, that is women, parents or caregivers, health workers, and program managers within the health system. Over the past 2 years, UNICEF, the WHO, and JICA have closely collaborated with partners globally in regions and countries. Some of you are participating in this meeting to advance the implementation of home-based records. In the fall, we will be launching an implementation guide for home-based records. The guide is designed for program managers within ministries of health, as well as policymakers and other stakeholders involved in making decisions and taking actions to strengthen the implementation and use of home-based records. It aims to support their efforts through improved processes for planning, content, design, implementation, and monitoring. The guide considers 8 factors for success that help to ensure home-based records achieves the intended impact. These factors are high-level support by government and key stakeholders, an established cross-sectoral coordination mechanism to take decisions and oversee implementation, carefully selected content of home-based records that supports national health priorities and objectives, well-planned and costed printing, distribution, and resupply, accurately estimated budgets and sustainable funding, and to ensure that the use of home-based records is valued by all users, health workers, as well as women, parents, caregivers, and community members. And last, monitoring processes are in place to ensure objectives and users' needs are met and operational support processes are optimized. You will be discussing many of these factors and their contribution to the success of home-based records today in your meeting. We look forward to sharing this guide soon and work with all of you, especially our colleagues in countries, to advance and learn together on how optimizing the use of home-based records ensures that all children have a chance to reach their full potential. I wish you very fruitful discussions during your meetings, and thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Dr. Annie, for your excellent, impressive presentation and enough information so in future moving ahead. Now it's my distinct pleasure to introduce my friend who is involving with us many years since our last conference in Tokyo, 2016. Country Representative, United Nations Populations Fund, Islamic Republic of Iran, Dr. Satya. Dr. Satya is the United Nations representative working in many countries. He has over 20 years of experience in academic, government, NGOs, and United Nations. Until recently, he was Assistant Director of the Institute of Population Health, called IPH, at Weill Cornell Medicine in Qatar. Dr. Daraswamy has worked in Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, and Europe with several government and non-government organizations, including United Nations. His special interests include refugee health, sexual and reproductive health, and strengthening health system, particularly fragile setting. I am very thrilled to introduce you Dr. Satya. I think Dr. Satya is here. He will join us live.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shafi. Thanks so much for that impressive introduction. I just want to check if my audio quality is okay. You're able to hear me well. Dr. Shafi, can you confirm? Yeah, thank you so much.
Right.
Thank you. Greetings to you, Dr. Shafi, and also the admin team of the conference. But firstly, let me start off by expressing my warm greetings to all the participants who have joined this landmark conference from many parts of the world. And a very special appreciation to the International Committee led by Professor Nakamura, who's an inspiration to many of us for the splendid work that he has done over the years on the Mch Handbook. And I also want to especially appreciate the conference committee and the scientific committee for pulling off this landmark conference and for inviting me to be a part of it. It's quite a honor and a privilege. So my name is Satya Doraiswamy. As Dr. Shafi introduced, I'm the country representative for the UN Population Fund here in the Islamic Republic of Iran. As you all know, UNFPA has a global mission of ensuring that every pregnancy is wanted, every childbirth is safe, and the full potential of young people are realized. In this context, I want to particularly commend the efforts of my good friend and a champion of the Mch Handbook, Dr. Shafi Buyan, the chair and host of the 13th International Conference on the Mch Handbook. The conference's intention to address health equity by bringing the health of mothers and their children to the forefront is not only noble, but also timely. As many of the speakers have already highlighted, the humanity has arrived at an inflection point. Seismic shifts in the climate, demography, inequality, and technology are reshaping the world as never before. These shifts affect the progress and in some cases threaten to reverse the gains made towards accelerating the landmark International Conference on Population and Development, the ICPD agenda, and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Yet there is also news to feel proud of, that the humanity also finds itself never than ever before close to the goal of achieving universal sexual and reproductive health and rights for all. Maternal deaths have actually declined from about 451,000 in 2000 to 295,000 in 2017, a 38% reduction. While the proportion of women of reproductive age who died due to maternal causes, estimated at 9% in 2017, was down by 26.3% since 2000. However, the decline has plateaued in the last 5 years, and the mission is not complete until we've reached as close as possible to zero preventable maternal deaths. Taking smart, effective, and decisive action to tackle the causes of preventable maternal deaths remains more critical than ever. In this context, UNFPA recently launched its Global Strategic Plan of 2022 to 2025 with an attempt to do just that. The strategic plan has an ambitious goal of helping countries to move towards 3 zeros of zero preventable maternal deaths, zero unmet need for contraception, and zero gender-based violence and harmful traditional practices. This global strategic plan factors in the theory of change, a human rights-based approach, by prioritizing 3 main components behind the human rights-based approach, namely non-discrimination and equality, accountability, and quality of services and reaching marginalized populations. The plan also introduces a set of accelerators that enhance performance in achieving the strategic plan results. The 6 accelerators are namely a human rights-based and a gender transformative approach. This really implies focusing on those who are most marginalized, excluded, or discriminated against, and with an objective to empower girls, boys, women, and men as change agents to challenge the social norms that perpetuate gender inequality and shape unequal power relations. The second accelerator is on innovation and digitalization. It's important to recognize that successful innovation increases impact with the same investment or makes the impossible possible, including reaching the hardest to reach populations. The third accelerator being about partnerships, South-South and triangular cooperation and financing. This conference, which actually brings participants from the various parts of the world, including the South and the North, is a perfect example of South-South triangular cooperation. Also, an intense effort to capture data and evidence through various data collection approaches, and leaving no one behind and reaching the furthest behind first are the principles enshrined as accelerators within the strategic plan. Last but not least, resilience and adaptation and complementarity among development, humanitarian action, and peace responsive efforts are critical in the pursuit to achieve the 3 zeros. It won't take much time to realize that the Mch Handbook can be an efficient and effective acceleration tool towards achieving UNFPA's ambitious maternal health related goals as envisaged in its strategic plan. I really look forward to hearing and learning over the next 2 days in terms of how the Mch Handbook has evolved over time and how countries are effectively utilizing them in the pursuit towards zero maternal deaths. Thank you, Dr. Shafi and the team for giving me this opportunity, and back to you.
Love friend, Dr. Satya. You have always been very good speaker and motivator. Your work and inspiration always inspire us, and hopefully UNFPA and your leadership will move forward together, because Corona gives us 2 distinct things. One is the collaboration, one is the adoption. So we work together and we'll move forward. Thank you so much again to give you time, even in the midnight or early morning in your place. So maybe this is the most critical time, 3:00 a.m. So I really appreciate your passion and dedication for us. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen and guests and my colleagues, it's my greatest honor to introduce you now, Director General of the Human Development Department at Japan International Agency called JICA, Mr. Jun Sakuma. Mr. Jun Sakuma has been the Director General of the Human Development JICA since 2018. Before he assuming this post, he was Chief Representative of JICA Nepal. Mr. Sakuma started his career with JICA in 1989 and built his career mainly in education and human resource development. He served as a JICA expert on basic education development and supported the effort of Ministry of Education of the Indonesian government in 1998 and 2001. Director for Human Resources Development, Personnel Department, 2006 to 2010, Group Director for Basic Education and Human Development Department, again 2010 to 2013, and Deputy Director General of Southeast Asia and Pacific, Department of JICA Headquarters, 2013 to 16. He has rich experience in JICA, several departmental positions. Dear friends and colleagues, I would like to introduce and present to you Mr. Jun Sakuma, who is joining us live.
So thank you so much for your introduction, Chair, and good evening from Tokyo. Her Imperial Highness Princess Akishino and Professor Adelstein Brown, Dean of Dalhousie School of Public Health, University of Toronto, Professor Yasuhide Nakamura, Chair of International Committee of Mch Handbook, Dr. Shefi Buyang, Chair of Southeast International Committee of Mch Handbook, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored to have a few words at this opening of the important conference on the Maternal and Child Health Handbook. In early 1990s, JICA started providing technical cooperation and sharing our knowledge on the Mch Handbook with other countries. This started when an Indonesian doctor saw the handbook being used in Japanese health facilities during a JICA training and wanted to implement it in his own country. About 30 years passed since then, and Japanese experience on Mch Handbook has spread to all over the world through JICA's support. The Mch Handbook is now used in over 50 countries around the world, and I'm particularly happy that partner countries and territories such as Ghana, Indonesia, and Palestine will share the experience and testimony of the book on this conference. The theme of this year's conference, Making Me Visible, indeed symbolizes the situation that mothers and children have faced in these difficult years. The onset of COVID-19 interrupted the access to care, and so has the conflict and political instability, among others. Mothers and children have to stay indoors or have to evacuate for safer places, and this situation made them invisible from care. JICA, as an organization to promote human security, we believe that Maternal and Child Health Handbook is a strong tool for many ways. The handbook is to empower mothers to be the owners of their own and families' health records. The handbook also helps raise the mothers' awareness of their health and encourage mothers to take charge of their family's well-being. The book can also deliver important health messages even when mothers and children wouldn't be able to reach health services. And these health messages could improve the care at home. This is why I'm happy to announce today that JICA, in collaboration with the WHO and UNICEF, has been working together to finalize an implementation guide on home-based records for maternal and child health. I'm looking forward that participants today will join the dissemination seminar in later of this year and refer this guide for efficient and effective introduction and implementation of the home-based record. The Mch Handbook is not just any book. It's a product of wisdom that all countries can share. Through this conference, I hope that we can learn from each other's experience and ensure to make mothers and children to be visible. Thank you very much for your attention.
Mr. Sakoma, I think I'm become emotional when I hear about JICA, when I talk about Professor Nakamura, because my global health program and education started with JICA. So I was involved with JICA Human Resource Development Project in Bangladesh, and we established Maternal Child Health Training Institute, Boshihoken Center in Bangladesh by the JICA support. I know how much dedicated JICA is for us. I have no word to thank enough, because I came from Bangladesh as a physician and study under Nakamura Sensei, and I found Mch Handbook how much useful to empower women and family. And I think I am privileged and lucky, the first Mch Handbook scholar in the world. And I work with Professor Nakamura Sensei, which is really make me nostalgic and very emotional. Thank you, Mr. Sakuma, for your commitment, your organization commitment, JICA, to work with UNICEF, WHO, to organize the guideline for Mch Handbook for implementation in future moving ahead. Thank you very much. And I would like to now request again our International Committee Chair, because is formally make a vote of thanks all our distinguished guests and our dignitaries, and also especially Her Imperial Highness Crown Princess Akishino of Japan. So Professor Yasuda Nakamura.
Thank you very much for excellent opening sessions. We'd like to express our great gratitude to Her Excellency Dr. Her Imperial Highness Princess Akishino of Japan, and Professor Steny Brown, and Professor Peter Singer, Dr. Naoko Yamamoto, and Dr. Anne Ditjem, and Dr. Satya Traiswamy, and Mr. Jun Sakuma. And your informative, significant, and very warm message encourage us very much to a deep discussion for next 2 days and the future to ensure the health and well-being of the mothers and children and family around the world. Thank you very much again for your kind message. And finally, on behalf of International Committee of Mch Handbook, we'd like to express our great gratitude to the conference organizing team, chaired by Dr. Shafi's and very young generation. So thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you, Professor Nakamura, for your guidance and support to make it happen today here in Toronto, University of Toronto, with the support of our excellent, young, talented team, diversity team. I think what you call the energetic team, those who have a passion to work for the others, so they understand the meaning of life. So, dear friends and colleagues, Her Imperial Highness Crown Princess Akishino, Japan, our guest, our colleagues, friends, family, we actually did very well in the introduction or opening session on time. I always prefer on time, on budget, quality work. That reflects, we would like to respect your time. We would like to switch the gear for the next session, which will be momentarily, we will start. That is called keynote speaker. We have 3 keynote speakers today. And one is, you already know our chair, Professor Yasuda Nakamura. Second keynote speaker will be my beloved Mama Mariam Ore, who is the Kenyan health professionals, but advocate, academic, and recipient of the first Noguchi Award Africa Prize, who is also Nobel Prize nominee for 2022. And also we have our colleagues from Netherlands joining us, Dr. Anneke Kessler, a medical doctor from University of Leiden and Netherlands, and specialized in public health and society and infant mental health. She started the multidisciplinary team examine children with development delays. She also coordinator of youth health doctors team, which issues social medical indicators for children who grow up in unfavorable circumstances. We'll go for detail before. First, I would like to invite Professor Nakamura, who is the chair of International Committee of Maternal Child Health, and also Professor Emirat from Osaka University and founder of the Mch Handbook. I call it father of handbook in the world. Professor Nakamura.
Thank you very much for your kind introductions. Please start my slide. Okay. And it is my great honor to have the opportunity of the keynote speech at the 13th International Conference of Mch Handbook in Toronto. This very beautiful, fantastic template was made by organizing team. So thank you very much for your very nice template. My title is Mch Handbook Beyond Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. And this photo is shows the 7th International Conference on Mch Handbook in Dhaka, Bangladesh in 2010. Okay, next. Next, please. Most children born in Japan this year, 2022, will keep their Mch Handbook until the 22nd century because life expectancy at birth in Japan is more than 81 years. Healthcare providers should image that Mch Handbook, which are distributed this year, will be utilized for centuries. Next, please. The definition of Mch Handbook was discussed in 2009 as follows by the international committees. Mch Handbook is a book that contains essential information kept by the family to promote and maintain the health of mothers and children. At that time, there were very few digital Mch Handbook in the world. Now, situation has drastically changed. Oh, sorry. Before one. The characteristics of Mch Handbook, which are adapted to both paper and digital Mch Handbook, are considered as follows. One is an integrated health record of both a mother and a child. Second is essential health information available at home. These very simple and significant characteristics of Mch Handbook. Next, please. Mch Handbook was published for the first time in the world in Japan in 1948. The situation of health of mothers and children were very severe just after the Second World War. At that time, IMR was 21 per 1,000 live births and MMR was 167. Now, the coverage of Mch Handbook is almost 100%. According to the research of poster session in this conference by Ms. Komatsu, 87.5% of mothers with young children, their average age is 34 years old, they keep her own Mch Handbook in Japan. Next, please. The contents of Mch Handbooks in Japan. The Mch Handbook in Japan consists of following contents. Information on pregnant mothers, birth certificate, health record of pregnancy, delivery, child health, and immunization. Health education, including pregnancy, birth, newborn, and child care. The basic concept is common through Japan. However, each municipality can add specific local information and change the size or the front cover of the handbook by each municipality. Next, please. There are so many programs to improve maternal, neonate, and child health in Japan, as similar as many countries. These interventions are carried out by different health professionals on different facilities and across different times. MCH Handbook program can guarantee the continuum of care based on primary health care (PHC) approach, which was launched at Almata Conference in 1978. Next, please. The role of MCH Handbook has changed due to the social and economic development in Japan. When IMR was very high, the purpose of MCH Handbook in Japan was to reduce infant mortality rate and MMR. However, IMR become low. The role of the MCH Handbook has changed to encourage psychosocial support for pregnancy and childbearing. Next, please. The MCH, according to the decree of the Minister of Health in Indonesia in 2004, every child should be provided of MCH Handbook. The late Professor Azrul Azwar, he was a member of the international committee. He said, when parents keep their MCH handbook, they can communicate their concerns to health professionals. The MCH handbook empowers parents. We learn a lot of things from Professor Azrul Azwar's suggestions. Next, please. There are so many beautiful MCH handbooks in the world. Cameroon has 2 official languages, French and English, as same as Canada. The bilingual MCH handbook in French and English was published. Mothers at the health center can get the MCH handbook in French, pink ones, or in English, blue one. The Deputy Minister of Afghanistan visited the health center in Japan. I accompanied with him. He expected MCH handbook to save the lives of women in Afghanistan. Please see the wonderful front cover page, which shows a father bring a boy and his MCH handbook. Next, please. MCH handbook now in the world in 2022, it is estimated that 26 countries and areas have national program covering nationwide, and 26 countries have pilot project developing or developed. Next, please. COVID-19. The Lancet COVID-19 Commission statement in 2020 mentioned that the COVID-19 pandemic was bringing to light pre-existing social, economic, and political inequities, including inequities of access to basic needs, including food, health care, and schooling. The most urgent challenges were hunger and food insecurities and gender discriminations or okay, next, please. I'd like to mention about the WHO guidelines said that the self-care intervention are among the most promising and existing new approaches to improve health and well-being. The MCH handbook also is recognized as a useful self-care tool by the support of frontline health workers. Next, please. This is a primary health care. New Science for Exceptional Action. Mr. Horton, an editor-in-chief of The Lancet, wrote the paper of planetary health in 2015. And he quoted the sentence of Wendell Berry, a famous American novelist, environmental activist, and farmer. We have lived our lives for the assumption that what was good for us would be good for the world. We have been wrong. We must change our lives so that it will be possible to live by the contrary assumption. What is good for the world will be good for us. Next, please. Summary. This is the final slide. Primary care is being re-evaluated during and after the COVID-19 pandemic. Mch Handbook in both paper and or digital will be used for centuries to empower women, children, and families, leaving no one behind. Planetary health is a very new transdisciplinary approach during and beyond SDGs, while many indigenous communities in the world have the similar idea. What is good for the world will be good for us. Mch Handbook is not a high-tech tool, but a simple invention suited to the community and planetary health because it does not harm the environment. Next, please. Yeah, thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Professor Nakamura, our chair for International Committee for Mch Handbook. Yeah, Professor Nakamura already mentioned very nicely, and which is very much aligned with our primary goal of Mch Handbook conference this year: advocacy, promote implementation handbook, and also support the need unprivileged families in the community. Thank you very much for your excellent informative presentation, and always inspire, and we learn from you since for many years. Let's give a big clap to Professor Nakamura since again. Now I'm going to introduce Mama Ware, which is very much familiar, not only for me, around the world, many physicians, advocates who are very much known to Professor Mama Ware. Professor Mama Ware was the former Chancellor of the Moi University, Kenya. She is also currently Nobel Prize nominee for 2022 and also Noguchi Award winner, and so many. I would like to ask our team to connect Professor Maria More, who is one of the champion in the global health in the world. So she's a member of the AIDS-Free Generation Africa, and she is also co-sponsor of Uzima Foundation, focused empowering youth to successfully address the challenges. Professor Ware has been chair of Kenyan National AIDS Control Council, chair of African Medical Research Foundation Board, by working with diverse group up, like example, Global Health Workforce Alliances, and many. She worked for elderly and child and so many. So if I want to read her bio, it will be long. For the interest of time, I would like to present Professor Maria More for her keynote speech.
It is a pleasure to be able to say a few words to this distinguished audience. My name is Miriam Mwere. I'm Kenyan. I live in Kenya. I would like to say that I have enjoyed my life as a health professional because it helps you as a human being to bring joy to another human being. And so it has been a wonderful experience. Being based in Africa, my concern has moved mostly that of Africa, and it also happens that health challenges in the world, Africa has some of the most serious challenges among health challenges in the world. And in this regard, I want to say that I have had the joy of seeing improvements. Improvements in hygiene, environmental hygiene, improvements in having household hygiene, even improvements in food handling hygiene. But there are still needs. And these needs are especially and particularly expressed in the form of mother and child challenges. Mother and child challenges in Africa are still quite serious, and this is the population that is most at risk for sickness and for death. And what kills our mothers and children are not new strange things, but things that are average, the average challenges of health care. And that's why I think that we can have hope. We can have hope because they're the average challenges, we can organize how to deal with them. And the root, the basis on this organization that gives us the greatest hope and success is the community approach through community health workers. Community health workers will help us improve our community hygiene even more, community environment, use of latrines, management of diarrhea, management of malaria. This community approach gives us the greatest opportunity to do this. And we have been talking about, and I am one of those people who has been going to communities, encouraging them to do this, talking with governments to do this, and it requires support and it requires money, even to organize the training. So today, I want to appeal for a global approach to having community health services in every community in the world. Rather than just talking about the importance of the community health, of maternal child health handbook and the maternal health services. I think we've talked about that enough and most people know. But how do they get to do it? The challenge that I find most constant is the challenge of getting to the community and getting the handbook in the hands of the mother. Once the book is in the hand of the mother, I have found that even the least educated mothers know how to use it. But how do we get it? They are not, in Kenya, we don't have it in 70% of the population yet. And in some countries, they don't have it even in 10% of the population. So I would like to appeal for a global approach. In the good old days, we saw this in the approach we overcame smallpox that was killing people from all over the world. And in recent times, we have seen a global approach to the control of COVID. Can we please use the same approach to make sure that community health services are established in every community in the world? Can we please make this a global responsibility? It would be wonderful. I remember in the 70s when I was a member of an international board going to Bangladesh communities, Bangladesh villages, and how happy I was to see where we had assisted the children and mothers of Bangladesh to overcome some of their challenges. So I don't only feel happy when an African is getting better, I also felt happy when the Bangladeshis were getting better. Let us organize in the global context. We are citizens on this planet. We are citizens together in this planet. Let us work together in a way that helps all of us to be healthy. And I am appealing to the global community to support the establishment of community health services in every community so that through the community health worker, every mother can have access to the mother-child handbook. The mother-child handbook is a fantastic tool for improving global health. So rather than continuing to waste money on illnesses connected to mother-child health, please may the global community rise up and work with us, especially those of us in Africa. I can speak for Africa because I'm an African, to have universal access to community health services. If we have a community health services and a community health worker in every community, I am quite convinced that this will be a big solution towards improved mother and child health services, because the Mother and Child Health Handbook is, after all, for the purpose of improving the mother and child health. And what is wonderful is that it is possible. Just like we did with smallpox and we have done with COVID, it is possible to organize ourselves as a global community to actually address this challenge. So I invite this congregation, the participants at this conference, to join as a global community to address the issue of access to community health services in every community with the support of community health workers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mama Ware. You rightly mentioned the global health promotion movement makes visible change around the world through utilization of the handbook. Mch Handbook is one of the global tools that can promote community health, and the global approach how you suggested us to make a more global movement to improve the community health through utilization of handbook. And handbook uses is not a problem how to reach these people is an exciting point, and it should be attention of the global community. As we know, Maternal Child Handbook is originated in Japan after Second World War, now is flourishing around the world according to the Nakamura Sensei's observation and dissemination of these things over the period of time. Now over 52 countries using in different scale. Of course, it will be very, very good to expand and make it easy global goods as a tool of this handbook. Thank you very much, Mariam Ore, for your excellent point to pay attention. Your guidance, your support will be help shape our Mch Handbook journey moving forward. Thank you very much. For our viewers, so if you have any burning questions about our introductory session and the keynote speak and coming forward the country presentation, please feel free to put in the question and answers box, so you can put it there. Our team will take necessary actions. We will answer as we move forward. So now I would like to switch from Kenya to Africa in Europe, Netherlands. Our friend Dr. Anke Kessler, she is waiting, and I would like to introduce Dr. Anke Kessler, who involved with handbook many years and working in the academia and in the community, and working in the system development of Dutch Mch Handbook in the growth guide booklets website. So many. She was the previous Mch Handbook conference chair before me. I have a lot to say, but with the interest of time, I would like to briefly present our friend, Dr. Anke, is medical doctor from University of Leiden and also Netherlands, specialized in public health. Our previous conference chair, Dr. Anke, and I also one of the board member international committee of Handbook. I would like to present Dr. Anke. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much for your nice introduction. I will share my screen because I have a presentation. Okay, presentation mode. My presentation is about what we want to achieve with the information in the Mch Handbook to parents, about this very important source of information available in the Mch Handbook, about the importance of prevention as early as possible. And that's why I give it the title Early, Earlier, Earliest. Then Mch Handbook gives prevention to everyone, also for those who are not visible. There's a positive influence also on the unborn children who are not visible either. And the importance to reach also the fathers. Are they always visible? With the Mch Handbook, we can pay attention to things of the very early prevention. And I want to mention and discuss points of leverage regarding this earliest prevention, about the first 1,000 days, the environment of the developing child, the basic needs as safety and love, and concepts, mentalizing and containment, and then the task of the professional and the role of the Mch Handbook. And first, the first 1,000 days. Everybody knows that the growth of a child in the first 1,000 days is phenomenal. But do you also realize that the egg from which you are originated has evolved when your mother was in your grandmother's womb? For me, my mom was from 1924, so almost 100 years ago. And be aware that the origin of all organs is in the first 12 weeks after conception. Organs with a lifelong function. And realize that new heart muscle cells develop until the moment of birth. And that heart is there 3 weeks after conception. The same heart that makes you jump when you are in love, or that beats in my throat because I'm a bit nervous, or hurts when you're sad. Therefore, realize that the start of life has lifelong consequences. Good start is so important. It's like a fundament where the rest of life is built on. Nutritions like folic acid, but also stress and material from the environment influence the extent to which different genes are read, how many receptors are created. Environmental influences determine the function of your brain and other organs, influence your behavior, your food preferences, your immune system, your stress sensitivity. All the thermostats are adjusted. Every country must ensure, in the broadest possible sense, a safe environment in which children can develop properly and grow up undisturbed. This means an environment without war or poverty, where there is enough food and drink, where children can go to school and protected against abuse. In Hong Kong, the life expectancy is 88 years. In Central Africa, it's 55 years. In the Netherlands, 80.5. But within cities, like here in Rotterdam, the second city of the Netherlands, there is a huge difference between neighborhoods, also this in the Netherlands. Therefore, we started a national program, Promising Start. It pays attention to the very early prevention in these first 1,000 days. 5 basic needs for a healthy development, also mentioned in the Mch Handbook. That's nutrition, health, stimulation, safety, and love. And about nutrition, everybody knows there's a relationship of unhealthy diet to obesity. But fathers too. Children of overweight fathers have different growth patterns. And about health, we need also to inform the fathers. All the fathers are more likely to have children with congenital disorders, and various forms of childhood cancer and autism is also increased. Stimulation, everybody knows the power of stimulation. For example, the communication. The vocabulary program like preschool in the US has influence also on grandchildren. And then about safety and love, I will tell more about the benefits of creating safety and about the concept of containment, the coping with feelings. The younger the child, the greater the effect of positive, but also unfavorable environments. And you see on the right-hand side, a reduced growth of the skull. And during the Second World War, children from Finland who lived at the Russian border were brought to Sweden and Denmark, but without their parents. And research by Alice Stahl from 2009 showed that these children had a suboptimal development, different response to stress, increased depression, and a greater chance of diabetes and cardiovascular disease. But do realize that you see the same effect with parents who cannot give enough love because of their own mental problems of non-sensitive parenting. And then the fifth need of the program, love and the ability to mentalize. Children need parents to regulate inevitable stress. The ability of mentalizing is needed to connect with the thoughts and feelings of the child by also giving words to them and be able to understand and respond appropriately to the child's behavior. And children who can't count on their parents, or one time they can and another time they can't, don't develop basic trust. And later in life, you see more problems with mental health. Professionals have to pay extra attention to stimulate sensitive parenting, of which mentalizing is an important part. So then it's about the prevention of early life stress by increasing parents' ability to mentalize. And these experiences are necessary for the development of healthy regulation patterns. The child learns to regulate his needs and stress with the help of the parents. And it helps the parent and child to develop a good attachment relationship. And the parent offers so a secure basis and a safe haven. So professionals must pay attention to the quality of parenting and especially to the quality of mentalizing ability, but also important to focus on factors that make it difficult. Severe or prolonged stress at young age can disrupt the entire stress system. We have in the Netherlands an animation in different languages that explains what the impact is of stress on the development of the brain and how professionals or how parents can help the children to cope with this stress. And this animation is now also available in Ukrainian and Russian because of the war in Europe. It's a pity I haven't the time to show it to you, it's 4 minutes, but I give you the link later on the last sheet. One explains that the zone within which a person can handle stress well is called the window of tolerance. And as long as the stress remains within this window, there is nothing wrong and someone functions well. But if the stress gets too high or it lasts too long, the stress will shoot out of the window. And with children, this happens more easily if there is no adult to calm them down. Many children from refugees who now come to the Netherlands from Ukraine have experienced unpleasant things in a short time. Such an experience can cause such an overwhelming feeling of fear, helplessness, and terror that the child can become traumatized. In the Netherlands, we use the Mch Handbook to reach the parents with important information. And my colleague, Jessica Jansen, will tell later on how we use the Mch Handbook platform, often online, and how it works, and how we do try to reach all the parents. The Mch Handbook, on and offline, is the tool to inform parents about the essential themes as early as possible, reaching also those who are not visible, also the unborn children. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Anke, for your excellent presentation. We really recognize very truly that a children's health before, during, and after birth has been shown to be a significant predictor of physical, mental, and social well-being. And Mch Handbook can be one of the best tools to achieve with this for sure. And I think we are on the almost end of the keynote speech. And I would like to thank all the three presenters, Professor Nakamura, Professor Emeritus of Osaka University, Mama Mariam Ware, Chair of Kenya's National AIDS Control and former Moi University Chancellor, and Dr. Anke Kessler, medical doctor from University of Leiden, and also public health expert from Netherlands. Let's give big applause all the key three presenters. For the interest of time, I would like to request my team to start a healthy break from now on, and we'll be back another 6-7 minutes It means now is the time. Time is 10:22. Maybe we can start our exciting 6-country presentation, namely Indonesia, Pakistan, Netherlands, Bangladesh, Kenya, and Canada. So before we come back, we would like to ask our audience, our participants, our guests. So please take a healthy break while is a break, and we will ask our team member, Dr. Sandas Sabur will play our previous conferences, our story. So I think we'll get back to you with the presentations shortly. And before that, while you just watch and take a break. Thank you very much. Yes. We're back. Thank you very much, our guest, participant, and audience. We'd like to move our important session now, which is we entitled our Mch Handbook Global Experiences. We have a sixth impressive presenter, Dr. Sanda Subur from Pakistan, Dr. Khadija Islam from Bangladesh, Jessica Jensen from Netherlands, Dr. Shuana Novik from Canada, Dr. Catherine Abu Sarah from Ghana, Dr. Maria, Director General of Public Health, Department Ministry of Health, Indonesia. So without further delay, I would like to start our first presenter today, Dr. Sanda Subur, who is medical doctor, MPH candidate in final stage in social health science, is Harvard University. She graduated from medical school from Pakistan and came to Canada as an immigrant. And with this challenging situation, she also pursuing her Master of Public Health. And luckily, I have a very good chance to work with Dr. Sandas. She is a very good young physician and scientist. She published 15 more papers, and she aspired to be a medical health professional with expertise in child health. I would like to present you with Dr. Sandas Subur, who will be presenting now. You have a 7 and 8 minutes for you, Dr. Sandas Subur.
Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning and good evening, everyone. My name is Sundar Sabur, and today I'm going to present why Pakistan needs maternal child health handbook. What I'm going to discuss are the maternal and neonatal mortality rates in Pakistan. What are the specific causes of poor MCH condition in Pakistan? How can the MCH handbook help in increasing the antenatal care visits in Pakistan, as well as how it can address the lack of MCH data? And finally, I will provide a pilot plan for the implementation of the MCH handbook project in Pakistan. As you can see from this graph, that the maternal and the neonatal mortality rates in Pakistan are much higher than the combined mortality rates in India, Congo, Guatemala, Kenya, and Zambia. Similarly, if we see in the different parts of Pakistan, if we compare the rural and urban parts of Pakistan, we can easily see that the neonatal and maternal mortality rates in the urban parts of Pakistan are much lower than that of the rural parts. But because most of the Pakistani people, around 60% of Pakistani people, they live in rural parts of Pakistan, therefore we need to have a proper access to healthcare system. As you can see from this word cloud, that the word lack is enlarged, which means that there is a lack of a lot of resources in Pakistan, which consists of a lack of complementary feeding, a lack of proper family planning services. But the two things which I will focus on today are the low number of antenatal care visits in Pakistan, as well as the lack of MCH data collection. But before antenatal care, we know that the effective preconception counseling is very important to optimize comorbidities, to provide genetic counseling and lifestyle changes. Antenatal care visits ensure safe pregnancy. They help to screen for fetal abnormalities. They help to educate mothers about danger signs and symptoms. It identifies condition and increase the risk of adverse pregnancy outcomes, as well as antenatal care visits also help in shared decision-making with multidisciplinary approach to delivery plan, contraception, and baby care. The WHO recommends that the pregnant woman should receive at least 4 antenatal care visits during pregnancy, with the first visit occurring between 2nd to 3rd trimester. From this graph, we can easily see that fortunately, Pakistan is improving a lot in antenatal care visits in the last 30 years. What we can also see from this graph is that women are getting the first antenatal care visits, but there is a problem with the retention and follow-up of more than 3 or 4 antenatal care visits in Pakistan. If we see the ratio of antenatal care visits in the urban and rural parts of Pakistan, we can see that in urban parts of Pakistan, more than 4 antenatal care visits can be easily found. There are a few reasons which have been researched out. We can attribute the reasons to high number of education among women. It can also be due to the household wealth of women, then better access to healthcare facilities in urban parts of Pakistan. In a recent study, it was found out that the odds of women of having a high number of antenatal care visits is directly proportional to women who are having higher education and who are receiving more maternal child health information from the lady healthcare workers. A study was published in the European Journal of Midwifery, which showed that the present antenatal care package in Pakistan is more limited to weight measurements and supplements. Now I'm going to discuss the MCH handbook role in increasing antenatal care visits. I will not make very big claims that the MCH handbook might decrease the maternal and neonatal mortality rates to almost 0. But it is a tried and tested strategy which can really help in increasing the number of antenatal care visits in the clinics in Pakistan. These are a few pictures which I found recently about the current MCH handbook in Pakistan. These handbooks were analyzed, and it was seen that they are very good in analyzing the immunization status of the babies. They had very detailed information, but unfortunately, they were mostly English and Urdu language, and they were mostly towards for the educated women in Pakistan. Also, there's a huge diversity of languages in Pakistan, so it's not available in all languages. And right now, these handbooks are present in more developed cities of Pakistan, like Karachi. However, the MCH handbook, which has been developed by JICA, it provides culturally tailored educational videos, images, and diagrams to help women to understand their pregnancy and post-pregnancy symptoms. When the MCH handbook intervention was analyzed in Indonesia, it was found out that the book was 3 times more likely, the women in Indonesia were 3 times more likely to use a skilled birth attendant after the use of MCH handbook. Similarly, they were 2.5 times more likely to engage in family planning services. Similarly, in Cambodia, there was an increase in the number of pregnant women who went to an antenatal care visit post handbook intervention as compared to pre-handbook intervention. In Vietnam, the women who went for antenatal care visits, it increased post handbook intervention as compared to pre-intervention. Similarly, in Bangladesh, the handbook not only increased knowledge among women about the maternal child health, but it also increased the number of women who were going for the antenatal care visits. Now we know that we all live in a digital world and it's very important to analyze data, but we can only analyze data if we have data. So we know that there is a lack of MCH data collection in Pakistan. Recent studies have showed the present situation of data collection in Pakistan, which consists of poor record keeping, deficient data, there is underreporting of stillbirths in Pakistan. Similarly, there's no national maternal child health data registry in Pakistan. In Pakistan, there is a diabetic registry by the name of DROP. There is a cardiac registry by the name of CROP. There's a cancer registry as well. But unfortunately, there is no national maternal child health data registry. When the digital health applications were analyzed in Pakistan, it was found out, there was a study done in 2020 in which the researchers analyzed 51 digital health apps which were being used in Pakistan. We can clearly see from this graph that 46% of those health apps were more related to general health, 26% of the apps were more related to immunization, and 10% were more related to diagnostics. However, the researchers claimed in their research that there were limited domains for maternal child health as well as mental health projects. MCH handbook has recently been digitalized, and through this digital handbook, it can really be helpful in collection of data among women. Right now, MCH handbook, the digital form of the MCH handbook is being used in Palestine, Netherlands, and Japan, and this can also be digitalized in Pakistan to collect data. Now I will propose a pilot project, how it might look like if it is introduced in Pakistan. Right now, JICA is running a lot of programs in Pakistan, which consists of an MCH ICU in PIMS Hospital in Islamabad. Also, they're also running an immunization program in Karachi. Similarly, MCH handbook can also be introduced in different hospitals in Pakistan. So the timeline of implementation plan might look like the conceptualization and planning of the MCH handbook while working with the MCH experts in different parts of Pakistan, which will lead to pilot testing of the handbook in selected areas. This might also lead to the nationwide implementation of the handbook and then the entrenchment of the handbook in the health system. This is a proposed pilot intervention, which this is the way it might look like if it is started in Pakistan. It might start with the recruitment and the education of the community health workers as well as physicians in Pakistan for a certain period of time with a pre and post handbook survey. Then we can also introduce the MCH handbook to it can be distributed among pregnant and new mothers, and a pre and post intervention handbook survey can also be introduced and then analyze. For that, we also need to identify potential risks and benefits along with keeping the financial budget in mind. In the end, I would like to thank my wonderful team in Peshawar, Pakistan, who helped me making this presentation. I would like to thank Dr. Malik and Dr. Raza. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sandas Sabur, for your an excellent presentation. You are rightly mentioned antenatal care ANC is critical to improve maternal child health of any country, not only Pakistan. And you also rightly mentioned the implementation plan of handbook will not only assist the antenatal care visit increase, also quality of life, and we can give data, which is very much needed in this time. So I would like to thank you again, and let's give a big applause to Dr. Sandas. And next, I would like to invite from Netherlands, Jessica Johnson, MSc, International Public Health, and Youth Healthcare Nurse, and the Project Advisor at GGD, Amsterdam, Netherlands. I think Jessica is here. Hello, Jessica. Floor is yours.
Hi, thank you for your introduction.
Yeah.
I would like to tell you more about the development of the MCH Handbook in the Netherlands. Let's share the presentation. Okay. I hope you can all see now.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. Well, we do have the MCH Handbook, but we now have an MCH Handbook platform since we have so many products used for providing information to parents, and we keep growing. And I would like to give you an update on where we stand right now. It would be nice. Okay, so our aim is your aim to provide independent preventive information from pregnancy till 18 years old. We developed since 2006 MCH handbooks for different life phases, including the first 1,000 days and beyond. We have a website with information for parents, a growth guide app, which was already mentioned by Pakistan, an online community, and a chat service, which are both new, and I will tell you more about this later. And our aim is to inform and involve parents on health and their children and parenting issues. And it should be easily accessible. So our online tools are free of charge and are accessible through smartphone, mobile app, or computer. And organizations provide the MCH handbooks free of charge. The way we work is that we are a collaboration of over 20 public healthcare organizations in the Netherlands. And these are our subscribers, and they pay subscription fees. And together we decide with them how we spend the money on development of the platform. The use of the platform currently is that over 90% of youth healthcare services send out the MCH handbook, and we have around 178,000 births in the Netherlands each year. Over 114,000 parents use the Growth Guide app, and we have now approximately 5,000 new accounts per month, which means we suspect that around 30% of newborn parents download the app. And for the chat service, we have around 4,000 chats every month with youth healthcare nurses. So I would like to tell you a bit more about the development around the Growth Guide app. For people who've never seen it before, it's an app tracking growth and development. It's the app for the parents, so parents track growth and development by themselves. They can start this within pregnancy until the child is an adult, and they can enter moments, including vaccinations, developmental milestones, diseases, and they can add this to a timeline. And it's supposed to be fun to use the app, so they can add photos and videos, and they can make an album in order to make it fun and in order to achieve that they are willing to use the application frequently. So there comes and this is also to involve them in knowing what developmental milestones you can expect, or knowing how your child is, how the health of your child is, and also the aim that it's fun and they are supposed to use it more frequently is also to give them the opportunity to get the information we would like to offer them, the preventive information. And we do within the app with the information database. Parents can search information in the app on developmental health and parenting issues. And we provide in-app message service. And this message service sends through the app messages fit to the duration of the pregnancy or the age of the child. And it's also possible to send messages on zip code. For example, if there's a vaccination campaign in a certain area, the public healthcare service can send a message to a certain group of parents with a child in a particular age in that area. So what we've done in recent years is that we researched the effectiveness of the in-app message services. It was in 2019 and 2020. We did a randomized control trial where we studied the effectiveness of the push message service on knowledge, attitude, behavior for 3 health behaviors: vitamin D, suppletion, dental care, and water drinking. And the setup of the RCT was that we did a pre and post test questionnaire at 14 and 20 months. And in total, we had around 11 to 60 participants. And we had a group of parents who never used the app before, and half of the group was asked to use the app for the sake of research. And we had also a group of parents who used the app already during a longer period. And beside the questionnaire, we did 11 semi-structured interviews on how new app users experience the use of the app. We did not have exactly the results we were hoping for. We had no significant differences found in knowledge, attitude, and behavior for these 3 health behaviors, and no effect for educational level of parents, no significant effects or differences. However, lower educated parents seem to read more frequently messages and rate these higher, but it was not a significant difference. And we did have some lessons learned that we need to do some follow-up research on how interactive tools in the app message service can increase the impact on behavioral change. We also had some methodological issues. For example, the studied health behavior. In this user group, there was also a high level of vitamin D depletion. They did a lot of toothbrushing, so it's also more difficult to study any change if the behavior is already quite positive. And the digital questionnaires made it more difficult to reach invisible groups, the group of parents with low health literacy. And we also found in the study that the app needed improvement in navigation, was only 20% found in the easy to use. So we did redesign the Growth Guide app. It now looks like what you see on the slide here. We have like an overview page where people can easily navigate to the different sections of the app. And we did a user research on the app this year. And the results were that 75% of the parents read the messages. This is similar to a study we did in 2016. Parents rate the message service and the app as a whole with an 8. 50% of the parents search for information in the app, so this is something we could still increase. And for the new app, 83% of the parents found the new app easy to use, so that was really good news. And what we also found is, again, it's similar to 2016, that only 3% of parents are low educated and 31% intermediate. So there is, we could really improve this. And also what we found again is in this study that low educated parents rate the app higher, and this group more often, for example, found messages help them in making healthy choices. So again, it shows that our reach of the more invisible low educated parents is less, but if we reach them, the effect seems to be better than for the other groups. What we also started in recent years is a Growth Guide chat service. It's a chat service which is accessible through the application. You can see the button on the screen. And it's a great success. It's used in 11 regions in the country. And we had last year over 45,000 chats with the youth health care nurse, and it's accessible for parents with questions on children 0 to 12 years. But what we do see is that 80% of the questions are on children from 0 to 1. And what we hope to achieve with the chat service is that it's really accessible, and that if you cannot find the information in the app or on the website, then it's a very accessible tool for parents, and it's anonymous. So for them, it's an easy choice to then ask your question. Makes a youth health service more accessible. What's also new is that we now have a Growth Guide community. It's a pilot with an online forum for parents with a focus on parenting support. We hope to achieve that also here it's easy accessible. Parents can ask their question anonymously. And we do have a youth healthcare nurse answering questions, but we do stimulate and expect other parents to react and share experiences. And we hope with this new tool that people also are more supported on parenting issues and feel more mental support on how it is to raise your child. Of course, we also do have challenges. We have funding. The funding is still difficult, and we do not yet have national coverage. However, we do have national coverage, but we don't have all public health services on board. But last year there was a commitment made to make Growth Guide the national platform for youth healthcare, and it's really important. So we expect from next year that all public health servers are joined with the platform. It's really important to increase our impact. And it's more easy also to promote the growth guide among parents. We do include birth care professionals, but because of the way we are organized with public health services, it's a bit more difficult to include them in the with our decision making and also in making use of the Mch Handbook because they are not part of the public health service system. And we are also some challenges with the exchange of data with medical files. We do want to offer parents to get the data of the public health service into their app from the professional health file and to link it to the data they have themselves in the application. But we still are facing difficulties with cooperation of private software developers and costs. And we do, as I told before, that we would like to increase the use among lower educated parents. So those are the challenges we face, and we expect for future development we decide this together with partners, with the public healthcare organization, based on the needs of the parents. And we do research, as I told, and we have a user panel of parents who we ask regularly what kind of wishes they are, how they experience our platform. And what we do wish for is to develop special tools for parents with low health literacy, because we believe they have some more special needs also on how we can increase their access to the app. We are working on messages tailored to the preferences of the parents, so they can make their own choices on which kind of topics they want more information. And we are piloting this already. And we are planning to using smart data technology in the application. So for example, we provide automatic generated advice on growth or in the future for sleep. And for the chat service, we expect to have an evening, weekend, to have more. The opening hours are now during weekdays and 3 evenings to have like a full coverage of the week, and also to expand to the 12 to 18 years age group. Well, I hope I could give you an update on where we stand as the Mch Handbook in the Netherlands. And for sure, if you have any questions, I will answer them later.
Thank you, Jessica Jensen, for your excellent presentation for Growth Guide platform, which is very important initiative and the research finding, development of app, and how you make key message functions of message service, how you push forward. That is very impressive. We learn a lot. So moving forward, so to catch up for the interest of time, I would like to invite our next presenter from Bangladesh, Dr. Khadija Islam Tisha, a research physician, and she's also a medical doctor with the Master of Public Health, and she's working in the International Center for Diarrheal Disease Research, Bangladesh, namely called, we usually know this ICDDRB Bangladesh. So I would like to ask to team to start Khadija's presentation.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Khadija Islam Tisha, currently working as a research physician at International Center for Diarrheal Disease Research, Bangladesh. I welcome you all to the presentation of digitalization of antenatal care with the inclusion of the Mch Handbook, an innovative model from Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a densely populated South Asian country. Although we have made tremendous progress in minimizing maternal and infant mortality rate, we're still behind our target to achieving Sustainable Development Goal. Maternal mortality has been reduced from 122 to 194 per 100,000 live birth, while the infant mortality rate has been reduced from 60 to 28 per 1,000 live birth. As we know, maternal mortality can be prevented through timely and quality antenatal care. Unfortunately, only 18% of pregnant women of the country receive quality antenatal care. The scientists of Osaka University invented the Mch Handbook, which has been proven as a cost-effective and efficient tool to improve and sustain maternal health by raising awareness and empowering women. That's why I was interested in studying the innovative approach of the Kapasia model, which included the Mch Handbook in the digitalization of antenatal care in Bangladesh. Kapasia model, also known as maternal death-free Kapasia model, was launched in 4 December 2017 in Kapasia, a sub-district of Gazipur, Bangladesh, with an aim to bring all pregnant women under the digital services umbrella with innovative concepts like Mch Handbook, SMS reminder, and voice call reminder. It simplifies service delivery and improves the quality of the care, which make the mother visible and heard. Here is a simple overview of how Kapasia model works. Healthcare worker registered a pregnant woman information in the Mch software and give them an Mch handbook with a unique code. By this unique code, the status of the pregnant woman can be tracked in the Mch software. The Mch software generated 4 ANC visits scheduled for every woman according to the information given by the healthcare worker. And 3 days prior to the scheduled visit, an SMS reminder is sent to their phone. Also, an automated voice call is sent to their phone on the day of the visit. Both the SMS and the voice call that are sent in their mobile is in the native language for better understanding. Here, you can see the dashboard of the Mch software named as Pregnant Women's Mirror, showing important information like the total number of the pregnant women, the total number of infant, and the total number of the high-risk pregnancy. On the right, you can see the cover page of the Mch handbook highlighting the unique code ID number provided to each pregnant woman. This study was a cross-sectional study conducted at Kapasia Upazila among 175 pregnant women through face-to-face interview with a semi-structured questionnaire. The study aims to assess the utilization of digitalized antenatal services of Kapasia model. This study found an overwhelming response among the beneficiaries, which reflects the acceptance of digitalized ANC services among rural people. 89.1% of pregnant women utilize the digitalized antenatal care service. In our study, we found statistical significant association between the utilization of digitalized antenatal care and pregnant women's education status, husband education status, mobile phone ownership, as well as mobile phone operating knowledge. There are few challenges identified. Despite a lot of effort to raise awareness, still stigma and prejudice are present in rural areas regarding the pregnancy-related health care. Mobile phone ownership is one of the biggest challenges. Although the messages and voice call did not require any internet connection or any service charge, many women do not even have a phone. Many of them have access to shared family phone, which is a common scenario in low and middle income country, but that's why they did not get the SMS or phone call in time. The poor socioeconomic condition also acts as a barrier in utilizing the digitalized antenatal care services. Moreover, women in rural areas are dependent on their male counterpart and not empowered socially and financially, which does not allow them to make their own healthcare decision. These challenges won't be solved overnight, but we are optimistic about future progress through a collaborative effort. Kapasya model can be an efficient tool to accelerate our effort to achieve the targets of Sustainable Development Goals in the domain of maternal as well as child health. This study provides a critical insight to the policymaker in planning of digitalization of maternal health care. In future, Kapasya model can be replicated and implemented in other settings to avail the benefit of technology with the combination of Mch Handbook for better maternal and child health outcome. Thank you all for your patient hearing. If you have any further queries, please contact me through the mail address below. Senior
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Khadija Islam Tisha. And it's very much personal, but though I did my postdoc study in Kajipur, in Kapasya, near Kapasya, the same district in Bangladesh. And I found interesting, very similarity. You found almost 89% people are using this digital antenatal care benefit from this study, which is very impressive. And we all know Bangladesh is moving ahead with the digitalization. So I think it will be huge significance of your study to guide and support the policymaker in this direction. Again, thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. Let's move to Asia, to other part of the world. We have a friend from Ghana Health Services, and Catherine Adu Asara, Nutrition Program Manager, Diet and Healthy Lifestyle. I think Catherine is here. Hey, we can see. Catherine, hello. So floor is yours. I would like to ask you to limit your presentation 7 to 8 minutes. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. So I'll walk you through Ghana's process of rolling out the maternal and child health record book. Yes, if you could share my slides with me, please. Okay, thank you. So next slide, please. Yeah, so this will just be the presentation outline. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. All right, so just a quick history of where we've come from. Please go back. Where we've come from, Ghana over the past decade has been using 2 double books, and one for maternal health, one for child health. However, we noticed over the period challenges in using the different books, especially when it comes to continuum of care. And so, as well as global lessons learned, we decided to also develop the combined maternal and child health record book. Next slide. So again, as I said, for the rationale for the integration of the books, COC, Continuum of Care, was the major reason for putting the books together. And also looking at the cost, which also informed the decision to merge the books, and also to empower mothers and caregivers and the family as a whole, because the new book has been enhanced with lots of information and illustrations for even mothers who are unable to read. Next slide, please. Oh, okay. So like I mentioned earlier, we had a study, an implementation research that informed the development of the book, the Bridge study, which looked at now integrating the COC card as part of documents for maternal and child health records. And the package for the intervention was looking at ANC, where we had very good coverage all through to the postnatal care. Next, please. Okay, so the situation prior to the implementation research As you can see, the individual services had quite good coverages. When it came to continuum of care, we were just around 8%. Now, from the implementation research, we're able to jump all the way to 50% when it comes to continuum of care. And this was good enough evidence to look at merging the books and also including the COC card as part of the content. Next, please. All right, so these are the contents of the individual books that have been merged into the one combined book. We have the maternal health record, the child health record, like I said, the COC card, which is also integrated. And now we've also included the measurements of length because of our stunting rate in Ghana into the, now we have one combined health record book for mother and child. Next, please. Can you move to the next slide, please? All right, so what I'll walk you through the planning and development. In Ghana, we started the development of the book in 2016, where we looked at stakeholder consultations to agree on the content. We did a pre and pilot test, and we are currently rolling out the books even up to now. Next, please.
So, Catherine, there is a delay of system delay, plus please wait, slight transition, sometime delay for internet connections. So please be patient. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, thank you. So in terms of the process of developing the book, it was a participatory process to agree on the contents of the book. And we had a lot of stakeholders come on board from the government sector, from our development partners, from civil society organizations. And we also had to come up with a list of indicator fields for the book. And our selection criteria was heavy on the policy direction of the health sector at that time. We also looked at the data fields that were priority for RMNCH and nutrition. We also looked at availability of existing data collecting tools and reporting forms at the service delivery level in terms of including the content so that we do not have to finish and now develop tools for service delivery. And based on the consultations, we agreed on the content. And we also had a validation forum where stakeholders endorsed the contents of the book, and we also obtained buy-in from the stakeholders. Next slide, please. So these are the key features of the record book. Our record book is color-coded to make it easy. We have pregnancy, we have delivery, postnatal, and childhood. We've also included some aspects of nurturing care and ECD in our record book, and all this is hinged on Ghana's UHC policy roadmap of leaving no one behind. Next, please. Okay, I think I've talked about the color coding, so we can move to the next slide, please. Yes, so our book has also been enhanced with a lot of nutrition-related issues, which was a challenge prior because we didn't have a lot of information in the previous books. And there's a lot of illustrations so that mothers who are not literate can be able to look at the illustrations and understand what they are supposed to provide their children in terms of their nutrition. Next slide, please. The role of male partners has also been emphasized in this book, and the family, also making sure that all are included in the care of the mother and the child. And so we have a page that also looks at the role of male partners as well as the family as a whole. Next, please. I think I have talked about this, the fact that we've also included ECD as part so that children with developmental milestones would also not be left behind, but would be identified early enough for appropriate care. So I'll quickly walk you through the progress of implementation. These are some of the key activities that have been conducted. We are currently rolling out the book nationally in all our regions. We have trained a lot of facilitators and health workers. We've also come up with a management guide, which is an implementation guide based on some of the challenges that we found on the field. Next slide, please. All right, so this is just to show you the standardized training materials we have developed. And aside the training materials and due to funding challenges, we have also developed audiovisual materials, which health workers can learn on their own if they are not able to go through the formal training. As I said, we developed a management guide, which is more of an implementation guide for managers based on the challenges we observed on the field. And this basically looks at printing, procurement, copyright issues of the book, quality assurance of the book, as well as the distribution itself and other operational challenges which we identified on the field. Next slide, please. All right, so this is just to show the procurement of the books in Ghana. We've had partner support, we've had the government print the books as well. We've had the private sector also print the books. Currently for this year, government has printed 1 million copies for the country, led by the National Health Insurance Authority of Ghana. Next slide, please. So in terms of achievements, I think the time, so next slide, please. I think one of our major achievements has been with the COC completion rate, which has seen a significant improvement. Next slide, please. So if we see the COC completion, we see that we started off around 8%. In our model districts, when we conducted the end-line, we're currently at 92%, which is a huge jump, which means that mothers are not only accessing services at the ANC, but they are going all the way to the end when the child also receives the services at the CWC. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is also to look at some of the achievements in terms of the effective use. In the past, we had challenges with recording, even for fields like date of birth or the child's birth weight was not recorded by health workers. But with this new book and with training and a lot of mentoring and support, we've seen huge improvement in terms of recording in the various aspects of the book. Next slide, please.
Conclude. Our time is tickling. Yeah.
Yes.
Please go to the last slide.
Yes. Next. Yes, please. Next. All right. So some of our success factors. I believe the high government commitment has been key. Also aligning with the national policy, aligning the content of the book with the national policy has been very important. The development of the management guide has also helped us a lot in terms of managers knowing the direction that we are moving. And then the supervision and mentoring, which has been decentralized at all levels so that managers are able to monitor the implementation of the book. So these are some of the things that supported Ghana in our successful national rollout of the maternal and child health record book. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Catherine, for your wonderful and detailed presentation. We hope we will share with colleagues in our proceeding. But I am very glad that Ghana Maternal Child Handbook the record book has been successfully rolled out and is being institutionalized within the Ghana health system. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now we are a little bit behind the schedule. We would like to introduce my friend who is Dr. Shoana Nobik, who is the Executive Director of the Canada International Scientific Exchange Program, who is the champion global health professional in Canada, but now she is joining from remote. My friend, Dr. Shoana, please go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I'm just going to share my screen. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay, and I'm going to okay, can everyone see?
Yes, perfect.
Excellent. Okay, wonderful. Hi, everybody. I wanted to say Catherine and Khadija and Sundas, those were fantastic presentations and I really enjoyed them. It's great to be here and be a part of this, this global forum for discussion around the Maternal Child Health Handbook and exchange differences and approaches to practice around this and implementation. Very exciting period of time to move forward on implementation and on monitoring and evaluation and make contributions to the research in this area together. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you for including me in this panel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a very brief, a bite-sized introduction to the Canadian context for the Maternal Child Health Handbook and how we might want to go about addressing the needs of vulnerable populations in Canada using the Maternal Child Health Handbook. So again, this is a bite-sized presentation. There's much more to it. Canada is a big country. It is a high-income country. And that's why I'm listening so carefully to all the presentations from LMICs, because coming from resource limited settings can be very useful in addressing the needs of HICs as well. So I'm going to cover today the Canadian context, the ABCs of access to health, and how we characterize maternal newborn child health in Canada, less of a focus on antenatal care, focusing more on the social justice aspects and collaborative aspects and the diversity that we have in our population here in Canada. We're going to look at what the gaps are in terms of access to care, quality of care, and where the handbook actually applies. And then I'm going to close off with a really brief collection of recommendations on how to move forward effectively on implementation and iteration for settings within Canada, if it's even needed. Do we need it or not? That's really the question. So what we want to look at is whether we need it, and if we do, how do we integrate and translate the international experience to this context? So the Canadian context, ABCs of access to care. What I've done here is I've shown you this map, which is really pan-Canada. And what we're seeing was taken from the factors associated with difficulty of accessing healthcare for infants in Canada. And we see there's a greater need in Alberta and Quebec. However, this has significant limitations because if we're looking at this map, we're not recognizing the elimination of data collected from Indigenous areas. It wasn't collected from any group setting. So none of the populations that live on reserves were included in this survey. So it's not entirely reflective, but we can see that at minimum, we're looking at over 10%, 10 to 15% report difficulty. So how do we characterize maternal newborn child health? We have almost 400,000 births per year in Canada, and we're looking at an average of 8.3 deaths per 100,000 live births in 2018, which has stayed pretty stable recently. However, in the past, it has gone fluctuating between 4.5 and 8.7. Many women in Canada receive the majority of their prenatal care from obstetricians or from their family physicians. Midwifery has become much more popular as a means and mechanism for obtaining care. Maternal health is broader than just antenatal care visits. And that's why I thought it was really important to mention the types of presentations that we might see, like mastitis, urinary incontinence, the relevance of the experience of acts of violence or intimate partner violence, laceration that happens during vaginal births, postpartum hemorrhages, type 2 diabetes, so on and so forth. Maternal mental health also gets fairly short shrift. In terms of the way that we're able to address maternal child health as a whole. So we're looking at presentations of panic disorder, anxiety, trauma and stress-related disorders, postpartum depression, so on and so forth. And prevalence has gone up dramatically, especially during the pandemic itself, both in the population at large and also particularly in BIPOC populations, in those who are marginalized, refugees, newcomers, so on and so forth. Newborn health itself can be quite broad in terms of categorization, and this isn't covered in terms of just reaching a number of antenatal visits, so a minimum number. We're looking at breastfeeding initiation, premature births, onset of neonatal sepsis, and the number of live births that present with the number of singleton live births that are small for gestational age. This is my computer being a bit sketchy. So where are the gaps in access to maternal newborn child health care and quality of care in Canada? One of the issues is the rural versus urban dilemma. So oftentimes we're facing a predominance of providers and facilities in more urban areas and less so in rural areas, just as we see in LMICs. But we're also continuously facing issues related to the social determinants affecting health, as well as structural forces or structural violence affecting access to care, and also the quality of care, such as the policies related to Indigenous populations that have led to intergenerational trauma. And this extends to other marginal populations as well. Things like immodest claims of causality. So what that means is almost victimization of those who are trying to access care or provision of lower quality of care, because there's a sensation that mistakes structural violence for culture, which places blame on the individual. And we see this very often all across Canada, both rural and urban, in marginalized populations and not marginalized, but more so for marginalized. And this goes to say that it continues in terms of exaggeration of its individual agency for responsibility for seeking care. And we also have socialization of scarcity. So we believe oftentimes, even though Canada is divided into provinces and we have municipalities as well, that there aren't enough resources to go around. And this is something that's consistent around the world. We look at this as part of the global community, but we're socialized to believe that there aren't enough resources when we can actually find those resources and make things happen. What this leads to is a lack of trust in the system and providers, human resource failure. So we're looking at a higher amount of staff turnover, insufficient workforce capacity, and lack of demographic representation. So we have a massive demographic representation gap, and that leads to inappropriate way to address cultural humility and perpetuation of systemic inequities. Because if you can't identify with those that you're serving, it's an ineffective way of addressing this population. We have an unaddressed modifiable risk factors for mother and child, lack of access to key information regarding maternal and child health for both mothers and caregivers. That means less empowerment. It means disempowerment, in fact. And the information that's gathered can tend to be culturally off base and linguistically accessible, particularly for refugee and minority populations and newcomers. So we want to be able to consider this because these are vulnerable populations that are high risk for morbidity and mortality. How does this handbook actually apply? So it's tremendously useful. We're looking at addressing remedial issues with minimal input, such as greater health literacy, potential for accessing postpartum support, and focusing on empowerment at the grassroots level, as long as we're able to integrate it in a way that's appropriate and modified, specific and localized. We want to be able to use tools that are able to express key health messaging while encouraging trust building and demand generation for existing local health supports. So when I consider health systems, I consider the Maternal Child Health Handbook to be a big piece of the health system as a whole, because we're not just looking at inputs, we're looking at process. And the process is part of generating better health, confidence in systems, developing the workforce, providing tools, appropriately addressing the population's health needs and expectations, and building into the processes of care that lead to competent healthcare systems and more positive user experiences. So what are these recommendations moving forward on maternal child health within the handbook for implementation and iteration for settings? Well, there are a few, but I think primarily this really heavily depends on what we're doing in settings like this within almost the community of practice that's come about through the initial promulgation of the Maternal Child Health Handbook in 1948 in Japan. So we've got to establish those key supports. And I know that I'm reiterating things that have been said earlier, but it's important to mention that we need to be able to use relevant local partners, align it with the healthcare strategy, so that we get the reduction of maternal and infant morbidity and mortality, while at the same time moving forward collectively on a national level, on a provincial level, and on a global level. Use CBPAR processes. And Catherine mentioned this, the very participatory approach to localization, relevancy, reach, adoption gives us that decolonized approach to implementation of the Maternal Child Health Handbook. CBPAR is community-based participatory action research, and I really liked what I've heard from all of our global partners and participants in discussions today on this. So I'm just going to emphasize that again. And partner. I can't emphasize that enough. Reach out and build on multilateral knowledge transfer opportunities. We want to be able to benefit from that expertise and LMICs because of things that have been done. For example, in Burundi with the success with health records, in Bangladesh with the Capacia model, in Vietnam, in Mongolia with the success with the breastfeeding initiation using the handbook, so on and so forth. I could go on and on. So build on that multilateral knowledge transfer through allyship with each other. And that's how we end up moving forward. And then we can develop a version that fits and iterate it for the local settings as they differ all across Canada, whether you're looking at Nunavut, or whether you're looking at British Columbia, or whether you're looking at Newfoundland, or whether you're looking at Toronto. It doesn't matter. We need to be able to take those learnings, those teachables, and develop the version, iterate, and then focus on demand generalization as a whole and assess and contribute to the literature as much as possible so that collectively we can grow the field and we can move the dial forward in terms of addressing maternal and infant morbidity and mortality. Thank you very much. I really appreciate the time that you spent with us today and all the discussion that's going to come out of this. And if anybody ever wants to reach me, you can just drop me a line, an email, and I'm happy to answer and have lots of discussions. My email's on here and you can send me a message and I promise I'll get back to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Shona. Very important and interesting presentation because partner, PPPP. So we all talk and we all have all evidence from Japan, from other countries around the world. So we have a lot of evidence and we have a lot of partners waiting to work with us. So I think with your presentation, our lesson learned will be, we must act now to start for some point. So thank you very much, Shona, for your impressive presentation. Because of a time constraint, I have to go first. I would like to present our Dr. Maria Endang Sumayu, who is the Director General of Public Health, Department Ministry of Health, Indonesia. Hi, Maria. Go ahead. You unmute, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for the International Committee to convening this event and also for JICA to continuously support us on the development of maternal and child health handbook. Can anyone bring up the slide, please? Yeah, in a slideshow. Yes, and then the first slide. Next slide, please. Yes. So just to brief you a little bit on our development of our MCH book, it has been started since 1994 with the pilot project to make from what has been separated leaflets and record and etc. to be one MCH book. And then we have the further development in 1994 to 2003, a pilot project for MCH handbook expanded to several more provinces, and then it finally became a national program in 2004. MCH handbook is the only MCH record tool for mother and child until 5 years in 2004. And then the revision is being scheduled every 5 years and has been conducted in 2009 and 2015. With the next version will be this year. We will do another revision. In the revision in 2009, the MCH handbook turned into more colorful booklet with pictures attaching commitment of professional associations and Indonesian Hospital Association to utilize these books, including the private hospitals also is giving this MCH book to babies, to mothers and babies accessing those private hospitals. Next slide, please. Next slide. We are now, the primary healthcare is being transformed into more life cycle approach, but also strengthening the community, the public health centers, and the referral centers. For the community level, the MCH handbook is being used in the mother class and also in the integrated health activities at the sub-village level. So we have 300,000 sub-village integrated health posts in Indonesia, and that are conducting mother class for pregnant mothers, but also for mothers with under 5. This MCH handbook has been very instrumental in conducting all these activities, also in the discussing all the education that is being the content of this book. So it is being used by the health worker, by the local midwives, but also by the cadre. So they are using this MCH handbook as a reference. In mother class, under 5 mothers share experience and information about child growth and development, immunization, nutrition, management on child common illnesses at home, etc. While in the pregnant mothers class, they share information on pregnancy, delivery, postpartum, and newborn care. Integrated health posts is community-based activities delivering basic health services organized by trained cadres or community health workers under the supervision and assistance of local health workers. These services cover child growth and development of monitoring, immunization, including basic MCH education. So all these services are recorded on MCH handbook. So both in primary and referral levels, MCH services, including special service, are encouraged to document in the MCH handbook from the antenatal care, labor, postpartum care, newborn care, infant care, under 5 care, and until the growth and development of the children. In addition to this, healthcare personnel benefit from the book when delivering information regarding MCH services. Next, please. So now this MCH health record for maternal and child health has been implemented nationwide. And since last year, we have finished the revision of MCH handbook and gets many more professional organization commitment, increased from 7 to 13 organizations. So we have medical association from the commitment from the Indonesian Medical Association, obstetrics and gynecologists, pediatrician, midwives, nurses, nutritionists, dentists, general practitioners association, health office institution, hospitals, regional hospitals association, clinics and primary healthcare facilities, and clinical associations. So they are now committed to use the MCH handbook because the public sectors actually serving not the majority of mother and child health. The private sectors actually serving quite major numbers of mothers and child. So it's very important that all of the professional organizations actually committed to use the MCH handbook. Next slide, please. Together with JICA, with support from JICA, we are also developing the integrated child health checkup, which now being trialed in 2 cities in Java, in Indonesia to integrate monitoring of children's health and development using the MCH Handbook, early detection of cases of illness in children, evaluation of exclusive breastfeeding, education on the child feeding, infant and young child feeding and vitamin A. And it is also expanded the cross-program, cross-sectoral collaboration in child health monitoring. So we are just doing it in the 2 cities, and we will soon have the lesson learned from this and to be accommodated into the national program. Next. We are also with support from JICA developing the Little Baby Handbook, which now on trial in 3 cities in Indonesia. And this book is to be used together with the MCH Handbook to target babies, low birth weight babies. And then goal of this activity is to improve knowledge, skills of mothers and health workers in the primary healthcare and referral healthcare in caring for the low birth weight babies, but also for the families. Next slide. So we have a decentralized health system with 514 districts, 34 provinces, about 270 million population. So we have about 5 million pregnant mothers and 5 million, almost 5 million babies every year. And this is the cycle of how we manage the maternal and child health handbook to deliver it to our mothers. So we have the planning phase for the MCH handbook, needs analysis through information system about targeted pregnant women, and then the distribution plan. Also for the Little Baby Handbook, we are using real data on total babies born with birth weight under 2,500 gram and or birth length under 45 centimeter and or gestational age under 37 weeks or born in the last year, plus 10% of the buffer stock. This is how we calculate how many we shall provide for the MCH handbook and the Little Baby Handbook. And then we do the national fund, the regional fund, and also the private independent procurement is to provide this book for our population. And then the distribution of MCH handbook to the district and city in Indonesia. And then for the implementation of activities, we are doing advocacy, socialization, capacity building, and especially it is being used in the pregnant woman class, under 5 class, and also we are now elaborating on the digitalization. We have started the digitalization of MCH handbook. The phase is continuous with the recording and reporting, and also the monitoring and evaluation. Next slide. We are grateful to have this international exchanges since 1998. This sharing experience platform has been conducted. We hosted the MCH Handbook Conference twice in Manado, it's a city in the north of Sulawesi and Indonesia, and in Bogor in West Java. Also hosting third country training program, maternal and child health handbook from 2007 to 2021, hosting the 72nd World Health Assembly on the effective implementation of home-based record to improve maternal, newborn, and child health, and also present the MCH handbook lesson learned in other symposiums. So we are grateful for this event. Also, I have learned from the previous presentation. Thank you very much. I hope we can have more quantitative data next time we meet. Next one, please. And this is the last development of the MCH handbook. We assess, this is a small survey, we assess if they will be interested to use the digital version of the MCH book. And the animo is quite high, and that's why we are continuing to produce the digital version of the MCH handbook. Now it is being trial, and also with the COVID-19 pandemic, the country actually developed a very widely used digital platform to monitor the immunization status, the movement, and etc. The application is called Peduli Lindungi. It has been downloaded by 100 million population of Indonesia. And once we are ready, we will include this MCH handbook into that platform of Peduli Lindungi that has been used by 100 million population. The country is now elaborating on the citizen health application that can be used for different purposes, including this digital version of the MCH handbook. So with this slide, I would like to thank again the committee, all the presenters, and also JICA for the continuous support. We have learned a lot from this session. And thanks again, and back to you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maria, our Director General, Public Health Department, Minister of Indonesia. You touched the point, 2001 Manado, which I was very much close with Professor Nakamura to organize this Manado conference. I remember it's very, very mind-blowing and educational. That's what we started our study in Bangladesh from Dr. Azwar, your previous Director General in Ministry of Health. So I recognize his contribution. Our prayer and thought for his departed soul. So anyway, Maria, thank you very much. Indonesia is our example to how to empower women and the community through Posyandu. So I think it's a wonderful presentation, but our time is tickling. That's why I would like to conclude here all the 6 presentations. Dr. Sandaz from Pakistan, Jessica from Netherlands, Catherine from Ghana, Khadija from Bangladesh, and our own Shoana from Canada. Including you, Dr. Maria. Let's all give a big applause. And I know maybe all our participants, they may have some question. We will answer later on. But I would like to ask my friend if he's there, but I don't know, is it midnight? Our friend, Dr. Satya, just give you 1 minute, your reflection and conclusion remarks about the lesson we learned from the 6 presentation. Satya, please. I don't want to miss your knowledge and expertise. Please go ahead, my friend.
Thank you, Dr. Shafi. Do you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Okay. So the timing is not as bad as you mentioned. It's a good, 8:15 in the evening in Tehran. So I'm okay. So, but let me start off, Dr. Shafi, by first congratulating the 6 speakers. I think they were brilliant presentations, each one of them in their own right. You asked me to keep it to 1 minute, but I'll try to keep it to that level, even though it's very hard. The fact is, I can kind of see a spectrum here, really using the fact that the different countries that they presented are a good spectrum or a plethora of countries. One is the fact that there are the high resource, low maternal mortality settings, as in the case of Netherlands and Canada, and low resource, high impact, high maternal mortality situations in the other countries, including Pakistan, Bangladesh, Ghana, and Indonesia. So I think there's a good spectrum there. And secondly, you can also see that the countries that are presented are in various stages of implementation of the MCH handbook and in different forms. So really using the trans-theoretical model of change, you can actually see countries from a pre-contemplation stage in Canada to a contemplation, to a preparatory stage, to an action, to a maintenance stage, really in terms of advancement of the MCH handbook. So even though, I actually made some careful notes about the merits of each of these presentations and some of very interesting learnings for me, but unfortunately for want of time, I will not be able to go through each one of them and discuss each of the presentations in detail. So I actually have a summary of what I see as the 10 C's that actually emerge from these presentations. And they very well reverberate or very well kind of organize themselves based on some of the learning and the evidence that we have on Mch Handbook and many of good publications that have come from Dr. Nakamura and you and others. The first is the fact that the interest of countries is the C that I want to focus on, because of the fact that when I participated in the 10th conference of the Mch Handbook in 2016, I made a presentation where I counted 26 countries which actually had the Mch Handbook, and today we are seeing almost the number of countries double. And the numbers between 42 and 50 come up. So we're almost seeing a double and an increase. And the presentations from the different countries were also kind of reflective of the interest of countries. The second is in terms of the comprehensiveness. And that's what we've actually seen over time in terms of how the Mch Handbook can be a comprehensive tool in provision of maternal and child health services, ranging from nutrition to antenatal care to intrapartum care to postnatal care to immunization to breastfeeding and child health and so on. And thirdly, in terms of the continuum of care, and that again was emphasized in all the presentations of how we go from a stage of pregnancy to delivery, to neonatal care, to child health, to adolescent health. So you really see a good continuum of care of services as well. The fourth element of C comes from communication and coordination. It's undeniable the Mch Handbook is a good communication tool and also a coordination tool among the various organizations and the stakeholders and the service providers. The aspect of culture sensitivity of developing the content and how much care each of the countries have taken in terms of developing a content that is sensitive to each culture and its needs, again, are quite prominent. The element of community participation. So in many instances, there have been feedback from the community, improvisations made on the tool, and they've continued to improvise. The other C is around coverage. So how countries have also not stopped with pilots. So it's really not about just doing it as a project and stopping, and how they've seen this as a national tool and how it's advanced over time in terms of coverage. And what's also interesting is about the continuous improvement with the technological advancements that we've seen, the digitalization and the use of mobile health in the case of Ghana, right? So in terms of Ghana, the mobile health. So not only about electronic health, but also mobile health, digital health as a whole as tools as well. And all of this in the context of the Sustainable Development Goals is again visible in many of these countries. And what's also interesting, and is also I end with also a call for further research. We've seen different types of researchers commissioned, ranging from RCTs in Netherlands to cross-sectional studies to community-based participatory action research. So you've seen different types of research. I think we need more robust evidence in terms of the efficiency and effectiveness of Mch Handbook in meeting the various Mch goals. And as I said, I can actually add more to it, but for want of time, I stop here. And I once again thank and congratulate all the speakers for their wonderful work and encourage them and wish them the very best in the near future as well. Back to you, Dr. Shafi.
Friend, I cannot thank you enough. I know I have a trust. If anybody can wrap up 1 minute, is you in the world. And you did a great job. So all 10C give us a very good idea about the coverage, competency, community culture, and communication, and all are valid points. And it's really, I'm guarantee my team is recording your speech and we will publish it in our proceeding for sure. This is one of the best summary in 1 minute I ever had. So thank you so much, my friend. So yeah, now is interesting thing about research talking. Research thing is coming up, relevant what Satya is mentioned. Now we start from there. My team wonderful team. They studied about what has been done through the research, and we would like to present this. Without further delay, I would like to ask the Saida, Mahima, Yasmin, now Yoshida, Mithila, et al. The start the presentation about the research finding the global perspective of the role of maternal child health handbook in promotion. So a systematic review how they share with us. Sound, please.
I heard the word mommy. Motherhood is such an evolving journey, and to secure a safe motherhood, maternal and child health is very, very crucial. It's a great honor for my team to get the opportunity to present our paper in the 13th International Conference on Maternal and Child Health. On behalf of Toronto Conference host team, me, Mithila, welcoming you all in this session today. The title of our paper is A Global Perspective of the Role of Maternal and Child Health Handbook in Health Promotion. And this is a systematic literature review. This is my team who will be presenting today, Mahima, Yasmin, Now, and Saida. So let's hear from my team about the paper in more detail. Now I pass it to Mahima to start. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mithila. We will get started today by discussing some of the steps in the process while conducting our review. We will be covering a brief introduction, conceptual framework, methods, results, and a brief implication of our systematic literature review. As we all know, Maternal and Child Health Handbook is one of the best tools for self-learning and monitoring health, especially for pregnant women, mothers, and children. The handbook encourages parents to be actively involved in the decision-making and management of their family's health, while maintaining their home-based record. This also strengthens the two-way communication between families and healthcare providers. It also provides parents with essential health education on delivery, breastfeeding, postnatal, and family planning. The handbook is a record that supports women through pregnancy, delivery, and the postnatal period, and it is provided to women at their preliminary antenatal care appointment, brought to health service appointments in the future, and used as a reference during subsequent health assessments. So the main purpose of our study was to investigate the Maternal and Child Health Handbook's documented effects in the nations that have already implemented them. Maternal and Child Health Handbook impact on health promotion and identify the factors in regarding to health promotion itself. And we also wanted to see the role of the handbook and if it can act as a self-care tool to assist indigenous, refugee, and immigrant mothers worldwide. In this slide, we will be discussing the conceptual framework that we used for the review. We used a precede and proceed model, which is a community-based participatory model for designing efficient community health promotion interventions. As a first step, we focused on identifying the Maternal and Child Health Handbook's program functioning using information obtained from their website. After that, we wanted to assess how the handbook had been put into practice across the countries. We selected three components: health promotion, health education, and policy as the main focus of the Maternal and Child Health Book implementation globally. And due to resource constraints, we restricted the scope of this systematic review to only concentrate on the handbook's health promotion efforts. Following a title and abstract screening, it was observed that breastfeeding and immunization were the two most frequently examined factors in relation to the impact of the Maternal and Child Health Handbook. As a result, we classified and carefully investigated two factors that enhance health, namely breastfeeding and immunization, based on the data that were available from the chosen research. In this slide, we have presented the PRISMA model used to screen articles, which concluded in the end to have 43 articles that we have screened for our review. And now I would like to invite Yasmin to discuss some of the results that were noticed during our systematic literature review.
Hello, everyone. I will present a portion of our systematic literature review's findings. The Maternal and Child Health Handbook played a significant role in highlighting health promotion criteria that are known to improve health outcomes among the maternal and child population. This was a very important step. It is an educational tool that can incorporate and further develop solutions to overcome a variety of obstacles that stands in the way of good health. It has a significant impact on health promotion, breastfeeding practice, immunization, safe delivery, and the enhancement of knowledge on delivery complications. Out of the 43 research that we selected based on the inclusion and exclusion criteria, 6 studies had an in-depth analysis of breastfeeding, while 10 studies did so regarding immunization. The remaining 27 studies included evaluation reports that involved a variety of different health promotion elements. For example, child health, family planning, antenatal care, maternal nutrition, maternal tetanus toxoid, vitamin A and iron supplementation, smoking and drinking during pregnancy, safe delivery, awareness of pregnancy complications, and child growth are additional health promotion factors that were reviewed in our paper. Although other health promotion factors were briefly mentioned in the study, we only focused on those that include quantitative data to rule out any subjective interpretations. As for the epidemiological assessment, we assessed the mother's ages, socioeconomic positions, and educational levels in the studies we reviewed. The included studies demographic evaluation focused on women of reproductive age. Mothers' socioeconomic position was categorized in each study based on their economic situation, family income, job status, and occupation as appropriate. Similarly, education status was classified according to levels and years of schooling and compared between the intervention and control groups when possible. Now, passing it to Now, who will provide additional findings from our research. Thank you.
Thank you, Yasmin. For breastfeeding, we analyzed 6 studies that provided quantitative results on effect measurement, and they all showed an enhanced participation percentage, or an odds ratio of more than 1, after the intervention of the MCH Handbook. More specifically, 4 studies demonstrated an improvement in knowledge and awareness of breastfeeding, highlighting the value of the MCH Handbook as an educational tool, and 5 researches revealed a beneficial effect on breastfeeding practices. However, from 2 studies which tested the MCH Handbook's effect as a reference tool in mothers' classes, we did not find any additional information. We have also summarized MCH Handbook's function and effect on immunization participation before and after the intervention. We were able to find 10 articles from 4 countries, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Kenya, and Japan, that provided evidence to support improved vaccine uptake for both mother and child. The practice of post-intervention for children in Indonesia improved from 25.1% to 47%. Maternal tetanus toxoid immunization increased from 14.6% in the control group to 29.2% in the intervention group. And the odds ratio of 1.556 suggested that participants who attended a class of moms who utilized the MCH Handbook improved their understanding of the hepatitis B vaccine for a newborn. However, with an odds ratio of only 0.888, additional vaccine administration did not reflect this, and there was no discernible difference in average treatment effect on treated ATT for complete immunization. The handbook's content is tailored to the particular requirements of the nation and the area. Therefore, many studies were carried out to evaluate the handbook's impact on the different factors based on the requirements in the region or country. While the majority of studies provided quantitative data, we have simplified the outcomes to either positive, negative, or neutral. And according to this review, a significant number of studies have demonstrated a positive impact on health promotion factors not discussed earlier today, including child health, family planning, antenatal care, maternal nutrition, maternal tetanus toxoid, vitamin A and iron supplementation, smoking and drinking during pregnancy, safe delivery, understanding of pregnancy complications, and child growth and economic impact. Here, I'll now pass it on to Saida for the discussion.
Thank you, Noel. And this is Saida Azam here, and I will be continuing with the rest of the presentation. So we are going to look at what are the key observations that we were able to take from this review. Firstly, MCH Handbook has proven to have show a positive impact in almost more than 40 countries where it has been implemented and evaluated. How so? By increasing, one of the ways is by increasing the number of antenatal visits, because in each visit, it is demanded that the clinician complete the MCH handbook form and thereby raising the mother's and the family's knowledge and awareness on the maternal and child health care. And secondly, it acts as an excellent record-keeping tool to track their healthy behaviors and also to see if there are any abnormalities or danger signs that they are able to notify in their pregnancy. And thirdly, MCH Handbook has a tailored content, specific to the region, to the people, and to their ethnic values. So thereby it helps in the mothers reflecting themselves as they go through the handbook, and thereby it increases the rapport, which further increases their understanding of the content in the handbook. And finally, it has a good practicality aspect to it. With the simple language and with the illustrations, again, it is easy for the mothers, the families, and for the clinicians to follow the content in the MCH handbook. So when comparing to other literatures, one thing that is extremely common is that MCH handbook improves the health-seeking behavior in mothers and the families. So this result is similar to Shafi Bayan et al. From 2017, which shows that MCH handbook improves the health-seeking behaviors in the maternal and child health care. And also it is very similar. The results that we have obtained is similar to another paper, which is released by Augustin Cosmati et al., where they have shown that it increases the tetanus toxoid immunization, and also it increases the awareness of safe birth in the population. However, in one of the studies, we noticed that there was no significant impact that was notified after implementing MCH handbook. This was because the people, especially the mothers in a region called Majalengka in Indonesia, had increased baseline awareness of the pregnancy and danger signs associated with it. This information has been passed on to them through generations or from peer groups, and because of this increased baseline awareness, there was no significant impact that was notified with the implementation of MCH handbook. So what are the implications that we can obtain from this review? So firstly, the review has highlighted the benefits of the MCH handbook as a self-care tool for promoting healthy pregnancies and improving the child care standards through instruction and practical assistance. This reflects directly with the aim of our paper, where we wanted to explore the ways in which MCH handbook can be used as a self-care tool. Secondly, it acts as a means in which the mothers can obtain well-informed clinical decisions by collaborating with the physicians rather than just following the orders of the physicians. So MCH handbook gives them the knowledge and thereby gives them the opportunity to ask well-informed questions during each of the clinical visits, and also promoting a two-way communication in deciding about the next steps in their pregnancies. And then thirdly, we would say that MCH handbook acts as a very valuable source of data for examining the healthy pregnancy habits, misconceptions, and comorbidities in a community. Finally, the use of handbook as a tool for delivering accessible and equitable maternal and child healthcare services to everyone, especially indigenous refugees, and immigrant mothers could be promoted by the policymakers. So these are the references that we have used.
Thank you. Our team is excellent job, well done, because MCH Handbook research worldwide now going on, and our team very proudly capture all these things for making sure that all capture how MCH Handbook can make a contribution, impact, and so on. So for the interest of time, I would like to give one more time, thank you very much, all my team members for the excellent presentation. Now, I would like to introduce the person who just behind the scene always love to work 24 hours to make it happen today. She is Dr. Agafaya, our conference secretary. She is going to organize with e-poster with another person who is also behind the scene, Tasdeed. So I don't know how to camera switch. Tasdeed is there. We should capture Tasdeed later on, but you can just come here to stand beside Agafaya so that Agafaya will feel strengthened, and together we can. Thank you, Agafaya. Go ahead.
Hello, everyone, and I'm delighted to announce that our e-poster session is live on our website. And for those of you who are with us on Zoom call, you can go to the chat box. You will see the link that will direct you exactly to our e-poster session on the website. For those of you who are watching us on YouTube, just please go to our Mch Handbook website, our conference website, and click on resource tab, and the resource tab you will find the e-poster session. So as you can see on the screen, it is 10 selected e-posters you will find there. And if you have any questions, you can submit those questions underneath all of those posters you will find for Windows. You should insert your name, your email, then on a scroll bar you should choose the author whom you want to address your question, and then type in your question underneath of the video in the window and press submit. We will notify the author that he or she has any question, and then they will answer you in a timely manner. Thank you so much.
Yes, lovely. Short and sweet. Thank you very much. I think that is the advantage of COVID. So we have a digital technology, digital platform, and a young, innovative team. They did their best. I again congratulate Tasdeed and Agafaya to take the lot of pain over many, many months to make this happen. Thank you very much. Yeah, can you imagine? So last 10 months, things we almost fast day over, few more minutes. I would like to thanks before I conclude today, all the Dalana School of Public Health, our colleagues, Obida is here, all the senior management, and our chief guest, her Imperial Highness Crown Prince Ashiko, and our Akishino, Japan, and our Professor Nakamura, President and Chair of the International Committee, my proud team. All your work is really paid off. Today, hundreds of people watching, and future they will also watch. I would like to thank all presenter who join us with this, even though midnight and evening or odd time, no matter what, just around the world is really amazing. I feel privileged that you helped a lot to make it happen today. So I thank all these participants, those who kindly joined us, and those who cannot join is also have ability to watch it because they're at the pace of time. This is the advantage of COVID. Again, so COVID give us a very good opportunity actually. As Albert Einstein said, in the middle of any crisis, opportunity lies. So we create opportunity, we create innovation. And MCH Handbook also one of the tools that COVID-19, we have a crisis that Handbook can be helping, supporting tool. Tomorrow, we will learn more about this. We have an exciting presentation from our senator, our own Honorable Asha Shetty for the openings in the morning. Then we have a global experiences from other 6 countries. And also we have a digital handbook experiences with from Japan, from Thailand, our friend, came here, so they will share their experiences in Thailand, how COVID-19 helped support shape us to understand to use the MCH Handbook. So I would like to give the hands up all these highlights. Tomorrow we are really waiting for the global experiences to learn more about global experiences. Today we learned something how we have experienced different countries high level. Tomorrow we'll go for specific how we can be impacted using the MCH Handbook in the world. So without further delay, I would like to express my joy in this COVID crisis, even though we came to our own Dalai Lama School of Public Health in the University of Toronto. Despite of pain, all you make it possible because we are together. So we know together we are stronger and we should be moving forward. This is the official conclude for day one. But I think I'm so excited. I would like to ask Nakamura Sensei to say a few words before I close. Let's maybe one word. So how?
Please,
okay.
please,
So
please.
okay. So is the time to go. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. And I would like to ask our host team to come here to take a picture with Nakamura Sensei. Then we go for lunch. I'm sorry for the audience. We cannot offer you lunch, but hopefully in future we'll meet again. Thank you so much. And you can log out for today. Please log in tomorrow at 8:45 Canadian time, and you just find out what is your local time. See you again in tomorrow 8:45. Thank you so much. Please stay safe and healthy. Bye. Yeah. We can